Hey everybody, it's been like 6,000 years since we've recorded as Critical. I'm Mongo, joined as
Finally,
always
I'm
by my
free.
Mongo, joined as always by my co-host Liger Busa. I'm laughing because Shen Skywalker's in the House of Torture.
Sure is.
In more ways than one, I'm sure. Well, there's a lot to get to. G1 just wrapped up. I watched the top 3 matches from yesterday. I watched the final. There's a bunch. There's UPW drama that people have been waiting. Apparently, like, when are you recording again? I need to hear your. It's like you can read my thoughts in a Discord message, motherfucker. You don't need to hear it, but you will today. And there's just all manner of other silly fucking things. But first, I guess we'll talk about the G1 semifinals and finals because I did watch those. I got ground to death by work, so I had to start like skipping some of the block shows. But I'm gonna go back and watch them. I'm paying for New Japan World. I might as well use it. Yesterday we had Ryohei Oiwa versus Callum Newman. And you know what my biggest problem with Callum Newman is? You know, in the WWE 2K games when they had the mandatory chain wrestling,
Yep.
and like you couldn't do any moves until the chain wrestling was done. But like if you hit a strong strike, then the chain wrestling was gone. It was just strong grapples the rest of the match.
Mm-hmm.
He wrestles like that.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, like there's no lockup, no feeling out process. It's just straight. I'm gonna run across the ring and hit a move, and we're just gonna run spots. Oiwa tried. He had a pretty good match with him. And when it was over, I was like, cool. You know, Oiwa and Uemura in the final. Let's go. Because there was no way that they were not going to put the fucking IWGP champion in the final and have him face somebody who's already wrestled in the block stages. I'm not dumb.
Right.
When I saw Suji versus Uemura, if I could speak, I was like, oh, okay, Uemura's winning. And then like Oiwa and Newman could have went either way, but I kind of felt like they were going to do some like 91 G1 shit here where it's like Oiwa has to overcome like the Westerner, and then you have the other two. Because let's be honest now, the real three Musketeers are Oiwa, Uemura, and fucking Suji. Umino's missed his chance.
Mm-hmm.
Ren Narita's out of the discussion. And then Uemura and Suji had like an awesome fucking match. And they have Oiwa come out afterwards and they do the stare down. And I was on the phone with one of my friends for this. And I was like, those are the two best wrestlers in the world. There's a chance like tomorrow they have like a great, like, I didn't think all-time classic. I thought like that's best case scenario because obviously that's always best case scenario. But I was like, they're gonna have like one of the upper third of G1 finals ever. Turns out they had the best. I'll talk about that in a minute though, because Hiroyoshi Tenzan retired in the main event, and I guess when this was announced and this was lost on me, they announced a 5-minute time limit, which probably would have been for the best. They threw away the time limit. It was no time limit. The match went 9 minutes. And if you're one of those people like I saw on Twitter years ago that thought, for whatever stupid fucking reason, that Satoshi Kojima was not a great worker or whatever, he camouflaged about 60% of Tenzan's like deficiencies physically in this match. The problem is when Tenzan would hit the mat, he would have to get up, and he couldn't, dude. He could not move.
Yeah, I didn't see the match itself. I saw the stuff with Izuka after the match, but that was it.
Oh, that was really funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Because his music hit and the crowd popped, and I was like, oh god, he's gonna give him the Iron Finger from Hell one last time. And so they do the ceremony. They put all these chairs in the ring. You know who doesn't get a chair for like 90% of it? Tenzan. You know who needs a chair? Tenzan. And then like fucking Kiyoshi Tamura shows up, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't you piece out of the UWF New Japan thing because you didn't want to work with the fake wrestlers? Why the fuck are you hanging out with Tenzan?
That's weird.
Yeah, well, he was also involved with Ledette at one point, and they brought that Luigi Primo guy over for Glade, so maybe he's just like, fuck it, I have nothing left in my life.
Maybe.
The retirement ceremony was cool. It just, when people made the jokes years ago about Tenzon's ankles being Z-shaped, I was just like, oh, that's a really funny thing because his ankles are fucked up. And then when he stood up yesterday, I looked and like, no, his left ankle is like a fucking Z shape inside of the boot. And I was like, maybe he should have retired in like 2016. Like maybe they should have just done like a big old dudes versus like Tanahashi, Shibata, Naito, and fucking Goto tag. And let that be it for him. And maybe Nakanishi also, but like I had a friend who was like, man, that match was incredible. I love Tenzon. And I was like, I get it. Like he did most of his stuff. He looked bad, but he didn't look as bad as he could have. And at the end, it was like, you know, nobody came out of that match looking embarrassingly bad. Though Tenzon, it could have went that way for him.
Yeah.
And you know, seeing the outpouring of people being like, "Fuck yeah, I love Tenzon," that was cool because for the longest time, people acted like he fucking sucked.
Yeah, well, people are weird. They're wishy-washy on people, and then at the end of the day, when they're done, it's like, oh, it's my favorite, you know?
Yeah, I'll take anybody praising Tenzon at this point though, because for so long, like even some of the Puro diehards were like, "Well, he really wasn't that good because they tried for years to push him." No, they didn't push him for years, and then when they did, they immediately fed him to fucking Nakamura. Like he wins the IWGP title too late, and then his first reign ends in a month. Like that's not his fault. None of that's his fault. And then there was the final today. It was Uemura and Ryohei Oiwa. This match was amazing. It was. I'm going to put something on this that maybe I shouldn't, but I felt it strongly watching it. You've seen the 91 G1 final, right?
I haven't seen it in quite a while, but yeah.
It was basically the theme of the match is like Muto's the flashier wrestler, Chono's the more grounded technical wrestler, and they play to their strengths. They had the 2026 version. Oiwa worked the headlock all match. He won with the headlock. Uemura was like dogged with like the arm drags and like arm bars and shit. He did like a rolling bicep slicer at one point, like the short arm scissors.
Mm-hmm.
And they did nothing complicated. They did do the German suplex, pop up, no sell stuff, but that didn't bother me because they were still selling everything. Like Oiwa late in the match, his left arm's fucked up. He does his discus lariat and he sells his fucking arm. They went 30 minutes. They sold everything the entire time. And I felt like an insane person watching it because I'm being told that like Will Ospreay's clearly the best wrestler in the world, but he doesn't sell anything and his matches don't make any fucking sense. But I'm watching this and everything's logical. Everything leads into everything else. And they don't do anything at any point that makes me go, fuck, that shouldn't have happened. Like everything was pitch perfect. And when it was over, I was like, yeah, I feel justified calling these the two best wrestlers in the world because they had a match of this caliber. And also, it's a match centered around arm drags and headlocks, and they had the Sumo Hall eating out of the palm of their fucking hands. If I would have told you that there was going to be a match like that at the beginning of this year, you would not have believed me. And like when it was over, I just kind of sat there for a minute and was like, yeah, New Japan has the best core of young talent in wrestling. And if you want to be honest, the top 5 promotions in terms of like the best core young talent in wrestling, they're all in Japan. There's none of them in the West.
Right.
New Japan has a great core of young talent. All Japan's been developing their guys really well. Fucking Noah has promising youngsters, and we know how that always turns out for them, but they still have them. And it's so fascinating to, like, we talked about the Swerve quote, right? Like, oh, New Japan doesn't have any young guys on the come up. Oiwa is better than almost everybody in AEW, young guy or otherwise. Uemura too. Tsuji also. Yuto Ice will get there eventually. Oscar was being shit on by everybody before this tournament, and he's had like 3 matches I've seen widely praised, and it's like, yeah, fucking giant German Rene Dupree's the shit. Glad y'all realized it. Like, they have such a killer roster. And like when Oiwa and Uemura was over, I was like, God damn, I love pro wrestling. Like, this shit pisses me off sometimes, but like, not this company, not this year. Like,
well, I mean, there was a dark period that sort of turned me off after Wrestle Kingdom. You know, coming out of that show, it seemed like things were going to go really well, and then they sort of took a turn, which turned me off from the product, and I haven't really checked it out since. And that's always the thing with New Japan. Also, there's like a lot of wrestling anyway, but the thing with New Japan is like, you know, I'll tune in for Wrestle Kingdom, and then something will happen afterwards, and I'm like, I don't really want to
it's always the
watch
fucking
this.
February show. I know the feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say, even after Wrestle Kingdom, you still had those Knockout Brothers tags. Like, that team, I was so ready to shit on that team the first time I saw them, and then I saw the Yuto Ice Tanahashi match, and I was like, okay. At first glance, I thought these guys might be guys who went on an excursion and got shitty gimmicks. And to an extent, those are shitty gimmicks, but like, those guys are both really good. And then like New Year's Dash, they wrestled Oiwa and Zack, and that was like not a 90s All Japan Classic style tag, but it was like, you know, those really high level 90s New Japan tags that go like 20 minutes and they're like fucking really strong, and you're like, oh yeah, this is the company that partners with WCW. That makes perfect sense. It was like that. And then they had another one. And there was like an Uemura and Umino against Taichi and Ishii match that went like 30 at Korakuen, and that match was amazing. But yeah, then it's like the new beginning happens, and like always, they do something questionable or silly, like, you know, giving Jake Lee a main event. And then fucking Callum Newman wins the New Japan Cup, and it's like, okay, well, as long as Tsuji beats him, fuck, Tsuji didn't beat him. And then they kind of got it back a little bit right before the G1, and watching that final, I was like, you know what? Oiwa probably should just beat Yota Tsuji for the title, and then get Uemura ready to headline the Dome, and those two would have like an all-time Tokyo Dome heavyweight title match. I'm all on board with the grip. That's all I'm saying, man. That guy's awesome. He did the no fear pose with me in Chicago and had no idea what I was talking about. So so that's like all I got to say about like the G1 final. We unfortunately do have to talk about UPW.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you want to start with this, because like there's a lot.
Well, I mean, we did talk about it last time, sort of the whole thing about where it was like, oh, we're doing, you know, we want to do like an animated show and action figures and stuff, and I was just like, stop talking about this, right? And then there was people in Discord that were like, understand where it came from, which again really surprised me, because that Discord's got a reputation of being a bunch of arse kissers, which there's definitely two people that are on that train. So anyway, I guess you could say I found a documentary called "We Need to Talk About Islam," and it was made by Sam from UPW. And I did end up watching the whole thing. It's available on YouTube, so it's not like it's hidden or anything. And yeah, it was an incredibly anti-Islam. Basically says, and you know, I can say this because someone messaged me and was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what it is." Like, says that there's no good Muslims in the world. I guess unless they're subscribed to the UPW Patreon and giving him money every month. But it's also again, it's also anti-religion as a whole. I mean, there's an image in the documentary at like the just before the 40-minute mark, which is like very offensive and like sexual in nature, with a bunch of religious figures. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm not religious by any means, but I think, you know, to do a documentary like that and, you know, still take money from people, you know, like I said, you're saying there's no good Muslims, but I'm sure there's a Muslim, there's probably a Muslim that subscribed to the Patreon that's giving them money without knowing what's being said about them. And granted, it was made in 2015. That's 11 years ago. But have his thoughts changed on this? I mean, he hasn't said anything about it, from what I understand. It's not credited on his IMDb or anything like that, like his other documentary is. Um. So yeah, I thought it was necessary to like be like, wow, this is kind of fucked up. So I shared it on my Twitter and Blue Sky. And I don't have that much traction, so it didn't make like a big splash or anything. It's not like everyone was talking about it, but there was a bunch of people that were upset that something like that exists. And the silliest thing I did was I reached out to a YouTuber and I was like, and sent the link, and this person was like, "Oh, I'm not political, and this doesn't have anything to do with UPW," and I was like, how does it not? Like, this is the developer of the game. This is the only person that's developing the game. And I described the image at the 40-minute mark, and he was like, "Oh, my daughter could be here," or something. And I was thinking, like, well, considering I described the image and when it happened, why would you show your daughter it anyway? It's not like I'm saying watch it right here and right now. But the whole thing was just like him dragging a conversation. It was just like ridiculous responses, and at the end he accused me of saying I sent him religious pornography and that I'm into that, and I was like, this is beyond ridiculous. It was stupid to reach out to someone like that. um but yeah, so I made like sly references to Islam on their Discord, so I was kicked out of the Discord group, and then I was blocked on Twitter, which I mean really doesn't do anything. I mean, I can still see your tweets. The only thing that does is that I can't message the account directly, but I can't say I was planning to anyway. So I don't know what that really does. And then Sam left a Discord server that we created 3 years ago for when we interviewed him that I completely forgot existed. So he felt the need to leave that, I guess. It's not all good in UPW land. I don't like to say like it's never coming out because the world's crazy and you don't know what's going to happen. But do I think it's coming out at this point? No, I do not. Um, yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on the whole thing.
So we have to talk about Islam thing. I'm not shocked. There was like, and I only can speak about my own experiences with like some European fans in the wrestling space, but like a prominent like the one of the like people behind a prominent wrestling database website spouted some really insane like Islamophobic shit on Twitter, and it seems like that got swept under the rug super clearly. I don't agree with like religious persecution. Like
Right.
it's so stupid and reductive. But
I mean, when you watch that documentary, one of the first people you see is Tommy Robinson, who's like very prominent these days in like anti-immigration and prejudice and racism in the UK. And granted, again, this was 11 years ago, but I don't think his thought process definitely hasn't changed. And to say that was like, oh God, right off the bat, here we go.
yeah, there's been like this weird sentiment because I remember people talking to me like years ago that lived in like England and Ireland, like they had like relatives that were a little bit older that were talking about like all the immigrants from the Middle East raping women and stuff, and like that shit. That's like fear mongering,
Yeah, of course.
and it's stupid and disgusting. So all of this to say, Sam being part of that kind of a documentary doesn't shock me at all. Just knowing what we know about him, the fucking shit where he was like, "Why don't I develop like?" Basically, do you remember like when we were dunking on him like years ago? That thing about like, why don't I develop like a centralized bank or whatever the fuck?
I do not remember this.
It was like something to do with like developing an app like he made like an Andrew Yang game. He was like a big Tim
Yeah.
Pool guy. Like none of this fucking shocks me.
There was something else. Somebody sent me like he was a part of Maverick Media, which was the company that put out the documentary, and I don't know what it's all about. But someone was like, "Oh, they're promoting the Zeitgeist movement on the website," and again, I don't really know what that's all about. But I mean, I read a little bit about it, and there was posts talking about like how they did a documentary that was like very anti-Semitic. But again, I can't really speak to that because I haven't seen that documentary, but I have seen the one he made. So
As for stuff not being all good in UPW land, I can tell you what I've heard,
okay,
and you can blink once or blink twice depending on what you've heard. Um, this is all alleged before Sam ponies up to whatever lawyer he's able to scrounge the money together to fucking retain. But this is all stuff that I think, because you've heard a lot of the same, could consider it double sourced, we'll say. Apparently, there are multiple people, including ones we've referenced on this podcast, who used to act like the UPW Defense Force when we talked about the game, that are allegedly no longer attached to the project. Allegedly, there's not a lot of money going around. Allegedly, and I think a lot of us sniffed this out initially, allegedly the trademark filings aren't actually legit. Apparently, they don't have the Aki trademark. I also had somebody allege to me that the uncanny Aki animations that they have may or may not have been stolen somehow. Not rotoscoped, but outright stolen. That was the exact words
interesting.
that were used to me.
I never
Um,
heard that. That's for sure.
um, yeah. Now, granted, stolen could still mean rotoscoped, but they specifically said not rotoscoped, stolen.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a lot of sentiment from people that you and I both know that it's the tip of the iceberg, and this is only going to get worse. I'm trying to pick my words carefully here, but when a significant chunk of your team seemingly are no longer working on the game, and I'm going to say it flat out, everything that we've been told about the progress of this game has been complete and utter fucking bullshit. The game is not nearly far enough along for there to be a realistic release of a demo anytime soon, much less a full retail game. The Patreon has never been what it was promised to be. There's been no transparency. Why do you think there's been no like monthly updates of any substance in a long time?
Oh,
Because
because
nothing's happening.
they're working on a publisher. It's been that way for like for months now. It was very funny. One of the last posts I saw on the Discord was the biggest arse kisser in there. Asked a question about the publisher. I was like, "Oh, how's it going? Is there any updates?" And this person, who again not involved in the project, was like, "Sam said everything's going great." It was just let them speak for themselves. Just
Yeah. And I know that Discord group really jacked off about the THQ Nordic picture, which I went off about around the time of Gamescom, because it was done specifically to make people think a certain thing. And it's not even just like, oh, we got a publisher. It's, oh, we got AEW's publisher, because they're not going to work with AEW again or whatever the fuck. Like, it's so PWX Dave coded, except, I mean, Dave probably genuinely took more money than Sam did when you consider the original pre-orders like 20 years ago, and then Uprising, and then the one Kickstarter, and then the Patreon scam. But like, this feels seedier and more disingenuous, because like, this one of his things was like, well, I am an actual developer, so I'm not going to be like PWX. Well, you are like, there's no way around it. You have to own it. And you know
And I think what's super disheartening, like when I mentioned the YouTuber and stuff, there's like people that are totally fine with this going on for another 20 years, and I'm not. You know,
Can you
I
type
don't
to
want
me
to.
which YouTuber it was? Because I have like two guesses, and I wanna make sure I'm
I
right.
have not. Um, and I don't. The reason I'm not mentioning a name is because I don't want it to be a big spat. And I know he's not getting. Actually, I will say this. So for those who didn't see it, there's a Twitter account with something like, I don't know, like 47,000 followers. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of them are bots or whatever, but called Xbox Nostalgia. And they took one of the Wild Ring videos from our YouTube channel, which we have like 53 subscribers or something, and they posted on their account without giving any credit or anything, um, which was a real bummer. I mean, it's not like we're making any money off like YouTube or anything, but it would, if you want to take the video, like I'm not even upset about that, but you could at least link to the original source. That's not hard. Also, I did like a 50-minute video going over the Wild Rings, and to say like a minute clipped out of another video without any real context or anything is just really frustrating when you see people respond to that saying, "Oh, I didn't know this game existed." That YouTuber responded to that video and was like, "Oh, you mean I could be playing this instead of Raw 2?" Um, and when I talked to this person about the documentary a few weeks ago, one of the first things they said is, "I don't know who you are." And when I saw the response to that, I was like, "Well, maybe if you did know who I was, you'd know more about the topic that you're you're covering." Because I already covered that game. We covered it on the podcast, and I did multiple videos on it. So yeah, it was very frustrating. It's still going around. It's got like so many thousands of views, and it's just like yeah.
Oh yeah,
What can you
last
do?
night when I was in a Discord call watching shit with my friends, my friend Doug linked to that game's Wikipedia page, and I was like, "Yeah, Doug, that video was fucking stolen from our YouTube, my guy."
Yep.
And he was just like, "Oh, I gotta find an ISO for that." I'm like, "Yeah, I just want you to know if your computer's like relative to the Steam Deck in terms of power, that shit's not gonna emulate well." I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, I actually downloaded it again last night, and I've saw people saying that, complaining about Zemo and how it runs very slow. And I'm not getting that on my computer. I don't want to say like my computer's like top line or anything because it's years old now, but I'm not having any issues running with it, so that's cool.
In terms of UPW,
Right.
I think I might have stopped short of saying like for sure that game's not coming out. But at this point, I'm not convinced that it is. Like, I don't think there's. Oh, by the way, just random before we get to action figures, the KWK O-ring figure being announced this weekend was in fact Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. But I don't see a viable way for that game to come out, and if it does, it's not going to be one iota of what was promised.
Yeah,
It's
it could be a case of like, when Pro Wrestling X was quote unquote released, the version that's up on Steam definitely isn't the version that was supposed to be the final product. So maybe you get something like that with UPW. Again, I don't want to say it's never coming out because shit's crazy. And again, they could release like an unfinished version of it, but I think, you know, what's promised is at the end of the day is just not going to happen. It's also important to remember that he's the only developer working on this, and now apparently has got less people behind him than he did before. So yeah, it's not looking good. And I just think, I go back to thinking about all these wrestlers that signed on for this game, and I guess someone said RVD on his podcast recently was talking about video games that he signed up for that aren't coming out. Because he was signed up for the wrestling code as well.
I
I
was
think he
going to
was
say
signed up.
he signed up for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So and it sucks for like these wrestlers and these families that are signed up for this project, much like Power Town, where you sign up for this product and it's not going to happen, and that's money that they're not going to see. Um, so I think that's quite shitty in that way. Um, yeah, the whole thing has just been, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not religious, but I think when you're saying there's no good people in this particular religion, but you're okay with taking money from them. I mean, if your thought process has changed since that documentary came out, then you're very welcome to say that. But the fact that you're gonna block me from everything and I'll probably not say a word. I mean, I think if he had said something, somebody would have told me at this point, because that's just how it is. There's people who's gonna contact me about UPW, whatever happens next. But I guess nothing's been said. So
I also want to say, and I'm going to be a broken record because I always am on the show, the rev split would never have, like, for the signed talent, would have never flown with a publisher. That never, ever, ever would have worked. There's no way in hell in 2026 you're pitching a game with entirely original characters, and then the guys that you have heard of are downloadable content. In the era where live service games are dying on the vine like the second they're released, no publisher with any sort of fucking sanity is going to look at the guys they have signed and not go, actually, we need to put all of them in the game. And if you can't do the revenue split because they'd be default roster and that would eat into what the game actually makes, are those contracts still fucking, like on the up and up?
right,
Can they still be honored? And
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
when these fucking games come out of the gate and they're promising every feature in the fucking world, people need to go, yeah, fuck you, I want a demo.
Yeah.
UPW did it, Virtual Basement did it, fucking PWX did it. Grix is apparently developing a wrestling game engine that he's going to crowdfund, and it's like, my spider sense is fucking tingling.
So I will say in regards to him, like, at least he's someone that's got experience, like, actual releasing shit for years with mods and stuff, and is running like a Patreon and a Discord and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, when I read that, yeah, I'm talking to different promotions, I'm just like, can we just leave licenses alone for a minute? I think, like, once you release the game, if then you want to get licensed wrestlers, once you've proven that you actually have something out there that people can get their hands on, at that point, if you want to have licensed wrestlers or promotions, then cool. But I'm starting to really dislike this, let's get licensed and stuff before the game actually releases, especially for an independent product, because it's all money involved, right? Like, I don't see how it can't add, like, more stress to actually developing the game and getting it out there. It's just, I miss just, like, having rosters full of, fictional wrestlers or, like, rip-offs, and then give me the tools where I can, make the people that I want. Yeah, I'm getting tired of it. And I think a lot of it just comes from UPW and saying, like, look at all these names that have been announced, and the wrestling code, obviously.
I was gonna say the Virtual Basement game. One of my friends just sent me something about, like, the situation with the KWK Buddy Landau. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Virtual Basement was, like, they made that their identity from the start. Like, they showed character models, and it was just like, here's like 9 million fucking people that we've signed. That Viking Size Gamer guy did a video talking. He talked about the game like he'd seen like a reasonably complete build, and the game was not even in earnest fucking development yet.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think, because he blocked me at one point for saying that, like, he called Fire Pro an arcade sim hybrid, and I was like, it's more of a sim than the fucking 2K games. You can literally set up people's fucking signature sequences. You can't do that. I mean, I guess you can in 2K now. I haven't played 2K26. I never will. But, like, Fire Pro's more realistic. Always has been.
Yeah, definitely.
But he blocked me, and then I guess at one point he was like, yeah, I'm no longer working with Virtual Basement. Dre 41 Gaming. Nice guy. Always been nice to me. Comes off like a doofus whenever he talks about, like, that one video years ago, like, oh, the thing about this game is it's the details, but we can't talk about it. Like, dog, don't say
like,
nothing.
yeah, like the guy in the UPW was like, they're doing things like major studios, but we don't know what it is. because they won't tell us.
It's so it's stupid. Like, and the thing that makes this all fucking suck even more is that fucking like Gakdaw axed Ultraviolence, which was the
Yeah.
one I was the most interested in out of all of these fucking independent wrestling games. With all due respect to everybody else I know that's developing an independent wrestling game, that game had, like, you know, licensed talent. It had a unique concept. It had some really unique ideas that nobody else was ever going to do in a wrestling game. And now it's done.
And but also, this should be an example to other people and to people who aren't involved even with making a game of how hard this shit is. You know,
Yeah.
if you consider that, you know, his project, he had to cancel that, and you think everyone else is gonna have a smooth ride, you think that just because, you know, Sam is saying everything is going great, you're just gonna take it for what he says and think that's the case?
Yes, because most wrestling fans are stupid.
Yeah, this is that one guy is like, "Thank you for being so transparent." And
He hasn't been transparent about anything.
I said he booked more than Tony Atlas at Payless. You know,
Ah,
I it's really tiresome to see like people that are just so devoted to something that they haven't seen, they haven't got their hands on, or really even seen. You know, it's I don't want to go too much into it because we go for this every time, but this misplaced faith in things is just ridiculous.
yeah, like, you can have optimism for some stuff, but
Oh,
like,
sure, yeah.
there's a difference between optimism and just willful ignorance.
Yeah.
And I think people are opting on the side of willful ignorance because they want something that's not the WWE games.
Yeah,
Never
the
mind the
what
fact that there is
Mhm.
something that's not the WWE games. It's on fucking Steam. It's called Fire Pro Wrestling World, and it's frequently on sale.
Yeah. Um, there was a game released this week, Old Timey Wrestling. I don't remember the full title. Um, it's like $3 under $4 Canadian, so it's probably like free American. Um, and I give that a shot, and it's just like there's nothing to it. There's hardly any moves. The AI is not great. It's just not fun to play. The timing, you could never get used to it. The tutorial doesn't even let you see how to time the grapples. It's just like time it, and then it was done without you even figuring out how. Um, and it's just like, God damn, this is like depressing. And I left a review and I told the developer, like, you maybe want to check out, like, if you want to do something like simple and you know, sort of a retro game, maybe check out the old Japan games on the Super Famicom. But I made a note of like saying like people are desperate for wrestling games because there's nothing else out there, and it's just sad to see like the state of the way it's been for forever now. I mean, obviously there's been projects released here and there, like Five Star Wrestling, for example, and some other stuff like Action Arcade along the way. But I don't know. There always seems to be like some sort of curse with this genre, something holding it back, and it's whether it's like, you know, Fight Forever, where it was like shit internally was ridiculous and that affected that game, or these independent products that never come out, or whatever the case may be. It's just super depressing. And if all the stuff that went on with like UPW and then the Xbox channels, like, why do I even talk about this shit?
Yeah.
And also like when it comes down to that documentary, what I realized after talking to that YouTuber was like, at the end of the day, no one really cares. Like there's a handful of people who did, but like at the end of the day, if you take a look at the things that are released these days and the way things work, it's like, you know, how many people are actually going to care? Um, which was sad, but I don't know. That's a world we live in.
It's disappointing because I feel like my shoulder just popped. That wasn't fun.
Oh no.
I feel like wrestling fans aren't going to care regardless because it's like, well, as long as the game comes out and I get something to play, I don't really care. But also, you're not wrong. Like, we're at a point in our culture where we full on backslid into like 2004
Yeah.
with like none of the fun shit from 2004, mind you. Like,
Yeah.
we're culturally in the middle of like that, like Iraq war, everybody in the Middle East is the devil type shit. And except now it's a lot more obvious what's going on.
Mhm.
And it's not like we don't have the PlayStation 2. we don't have like games coming out constantly that are of a
Yeah,
high quality. It's like although this year has been really good. Like really good. Um like TV sucks. You can't go anywhere for an affordable fucking price anymore. Like it's you have no choice but to look at how fucked up everything is and how much everything sucks, and it's exhausting. And it would be nice if we had distractions, but we don't. And what I see is more and more people willing to engage in like the, I don't want to use the term extremism, but that feels like, it feels like that's what it is. Like people are willing to fucking revel in the extremism of just being like, fuck these people because somebody on the television told me to say it.
pretty much. Yeah. Um,
Except it's not their TV now. For some of them, it's their phone.
yeah. It's such a weird situation. It's hard to really go into. I don't know. It just feels like everything, and I'm not even talking about like different religions or cultures and shit like that, but like you take a look at like the entertainment world or the sports world, and so how many, and I mean goddamn politics, and how many fucked up people are allowed to get away with what they get away with, and there's no repercussions or anything, and how forgetful people are. It's like when they had Ryan Garcia on Raw, and the timeline is like, oh, this is horrible, this transphobic racist is on
Oh, I
Raw,
heard
and
about this.
oh my
Yeah.
god, this is awful. And then by the weekend, it's like, woohoo, SummerSlam, and it's like, weren't you just like, wait, what? It's
Oh, should we talk about the produce Joey Janela stuff?
I guess. Did you see who came back to GCW last night?
Yeah, that was going to be part of it. So I guess Joey Janela and Adam Abdallah, the guy behind Produce Wrestling, had a falling out,
Yeah.
and that happens in independent wrestling all the time. And then, and I don't want to downplay anything because we've seen like DMs, some of which are out of context, some you can kind of figure out. Uh, we've learned that the guy behind Produce really likes ketamine, and he might be a little bit of a pervert. And by a little bit of a pervert, I mean a pervert. Um, and it's curious to me that Joey Janela says the words, "It's always been get the bad guys out of wrestling," when he tried to rehab Drake Younger last year, and now Drake Younger's back in GCW. Hold on. Joey Janela is friends with Schlack and got him booked for years, and tried to have a prominent wrestling writer write a rehab piece for Schlack. He and you're not going to convince me that people didn't know what was going on in H2O with Matt Tremont for years. So there's another guy Joey Janela willfully shared locker rooms with. Janela also was fine with Zandig coming back around. And listen, we all love laughing at Zandig. The promos are funny. Some of the matches are really funny, but like not the guy I'm dragging out to fucking have on my shows in 2025 or 6. Um, what this feels like on some level is somebody's mad that their promotion's not the hot new thing anymore. And there's somebody that they used to work with that's able to book a lot of the same talent and run shows that are, quite frankly, far less bullshit using a lot of the same talent. And I'm not downplaying the screenshots that I don't remember the names of the women, but like, yeah, that dude's got issues and he needs to get that shit sorted out. Cause why are you texting people that you're doing ketamine and jerking off? Especially when they're not asking for that information. But the optics of GCW bringing back Drake Younger while trying to act like they're the morally upright fucking company out of the two of them, like, I don't know, take a look in the mirror, buddy. And listen, if Drake Younger's changed his beliefs, okay, I'm not. I'm of the opinion that he hasn't, unless he said something publicly and apologized specifically for shit. I think he's just trying to get his foot back in the door.
Yeah.
And like And at the end of the day, I've watched some of the produce stuff. The shows remind me of what independent wrestling used to be, but I also can think the guy that runs them's a fucking creep. And if you don't want to support somebody that's a fucking creep, you don't have to. There are websites where you can find stuff for free, and I would suggest it.
Yeah, to me it's just like fuck this whole mess. You know, I
Nobody
also
involved is a good guy.
no, I've seen a little bit of produce. I saw the a bit of the show they did in Montreal. I watched the Hazuki match, and then I watched Fuwa-chan against Nixie XS, and I could not see that show because it was filmed in what looked like somebody's leaky basement, and there was constantly like on one camera angle the sun shining through, covering the screen, and then everything was put through this orange filter, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Also, after the match, Nixie was cutting a promo. They had her theme song playing over the whole thing, and you couldn't hear what she said. So I was like, what? And then she beat up Fuwa-chan for what felt like an hour. And then I end up watching the Stardom match on the New York show. And again, I think like it seemed like a lot of this stuff beforehand was like, look at our production, you know, we're doing things different, and they had Nixie doing like stuff recorded on actual VHS tape and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, well, this is different. And then when you see it and it's like, I can't hear shit, it's like, no, you're just the same as everyone else. And also I saw like they had goddamn Fury and teaming up with no, I didn't say Siri, goddamn phone. I said Shuri. They had her teaming with Ali Catch, and on the other side was Steph Delanda, and I was like, just watching that, like, what are you doing? You know, if I had access to her, I certainly wouldn't be putting her in a match like this. And they came out to like Ali Catch's theme song, and Shuri was definitely like an afterthought, and I was like, oh man, no, don't do this. So what I've seen, I haven't really been too fond of, but I don't know.
I watched the Gresham Fuminori Abe match from the first show and thought that was pretty good. I watched Adam Priest and Dynamite Kid Jr. against Cowboy Way, which was a very good match. Cowboy Way has their formula, and I think it works really well with Priest and Dynamite. I don't think it worked very well in the other two matches that I watched of theirs. I watched Gresham and Lee Moriarty from the second show, which I thought was awesome. Thought that was a great match. And then from the New York show, I watched the Tiger Mask Dynamite versus Black Tigers match, which was good. It was okay. And then what else did I watch from the show? Carl Greco versus Tim Bosby, which was a lot of fun. Barnett versus the Butcher, which was a good match. But then they sent Veda Scott in there to interview both guys, basically. And Barnett takes the mic, does the usual Josh Barnett, like, this is my friend, and I'll fucking fight you every day of the week, and blah, blah, blah. And then he gives the mic back to Veda, who clearly has nothing left to say. And I was just like, get out of the ring. Like, everybody just go. Let's go to the next fucking match.
Yeah.
We don't need, like, there doesn't need to, like, when somebody cuts a promo and they're done, there doesn't need to be a follow-up. Like, Dusty didn't finish talking, and then Gordon solely stood there and monologued for 45 seconds to a fucking minute. Just like, go. It's
Very
fine.
awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I watched Mystico versus Rocky Romero, it was good. It was Mystico versus Rocky. That's reliable. I will say the production on the Rocky Romero show, the most recent one, was a lot better than the first couple. And also it's like a fucking 3-camera shoot, and I'll take that over, AEW with 14 fucking cameras, and you will see all 14 angles in one match. Multiple times. And speaking of AEW, I did watch my first AEW match in like 2.5 months. I watched the AEW Japan YouTube channel put up MJF versus Kenny Omega for the title. The title changed from Clearwater, and I watched it. Good match.
Yeah.
I thought it looked really cool, like the venue setup and everything. They had like actual Bash at the Beach shit on the beach. That was
Like
kind of
the
cool.
lifeguard chair and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. there was some stuff in that match that I thought was a little goofy, but also I think this year's helped me quantify like what my issue is with that product, and it's they dive way too far into doing way too much and having just goofy, nonsensical bullshit happen in their matches, which is probably a concession for a lot of their top guys not wanting to do clean jobs or whatever. But like that match would have been a lot better if it was like 7 minutes shorter and we didn't have to do the Kenny Omega 1 count kick out where they still do shit for like fucking 6 minutes, I think, after that.
Yeah.
Like, for as much as people talk up Kenny being a genius of match construction, every big match I've seen him in this year, no matter how good I thought they were, still had a thing where it's like, this is the match is peaking, kick out, 8 minutes of shit, finish.
Honestly, I find that AEW TV right now is so goddamn boring and uninteresting. It's like, I don't know, nothing feels like it's hitting. Like it's not like I'm like, boy, I'm looking forward to this. It's just like, all right, like Kenny and Osprey, it's like, yeah, I don't like Osprey, and Kenny's doing the whole like Bond villain promo against him. It's just ugh. And then God, what else is even on the show?
Let's see. I was just looking it up. We have Willow versus Mercedes, which is going to be a good match. I'm not paying $40 in an HBO Max subscription to watch it.
Yeah, and they're doing like when after Willow won the title and the fans give her like a big reception. They wouldn't let her speak for like a minute, which was really cool, and that was some good stuff. So I think if probably anything, that's probably the highlight right now.
We've got Osprey and Kenny, which I liked their Tokyo Dome match. The Forbidden Door match was very good. This match is not going to be as good as either of those. I don't care what they do. It 2026 Will Osprey cannot be contained. He's going to take the one-winged angel and stand right fucking up. And there are going to be people that are going to argue that like he's the best wrestler in the world. That motherfucker has no idea what the fuck he's. Again, strong grapples on. That's it, he's fucking no mercy with the infinite special cheat code. That's all he is, and that's not fucking interesting to watch. I'm sorry. Edge and Christian against the Young Bucks. I understand this is probably a really big deal for the Bucks. And have the Bucks with this? Have they wrestled all three of the teams from the TLC match?
I guess. I mean, I haven't known them to wrestle the Dudleys, but I imagine it happened probably in TNA, right?
They wrestled them at some point.
They definitely wrestled the Hardys. I know that.
Yeah, they did. They wrestled the Bucks in TNA.
Oh, okay.
We have the men's casino gauntlet. There's been like two of these that are really good. The one at All In last year went way too fucking long. The Continental Challenge Cup final, which is they have another tournament now for the Continental title. So what does that mean for the fucking T1? Divine Dominion are defending the tag belts against the Brawling Birds, which I could have swore this match has happened before. Maybe I'm thinking of Megan Bain and fucking Penelope Ford against them. I don't know. That's not a particularly interesting match. The Kevin Knight and Darby Allin Falls Count Anywhere. And man, was I really high on Kevin Knight like 3 months ago. And man, I don't give a fuck about him now that he's member number 702 of the Don Callis family. That'll be good.
Like,
they're both really good, but like, who gives a shit?
That dude, his promos are really bad, and every time he refers to himself as the Jet, I just sort of cringe a little bit.
He's still young though. He has time to figure it out. Is what I'll say. And then the last match announced is Fletcher, Takeshita, and Okada for the international title. I like Kyle Fletcher. Kazuchika Okada is one of the best ever. Konosuke Takeshita is good in certain situations. I don't care about. I know what they're going to do because I've seen every big AEW three-way match. They're going to hit 8 million fucking moves. One guy's going to be on the ground while other guys run spots. None of this is going to feel free-flowing. It's all going to feel like we're snapping sequences together to have a 5-star match or whatever the fuck. Dave's going to give it 6.5 stars. He's going to give the main event 7. And I don't have it in me to care at this point. Like, I saw that tweet. Did you see the shit Dave said about Bobby Eaton that was supposed to be like a compliment or whatever?
No, he blocked me, unfortunately.
Oh, he said if Bobby Eaton was around today, he'd be like the second best wrestler in the Death Riders and the third best guy in the Don Callis family. And it's like, who's better than fucking Bobby Eaton and the goddamn Death Riders? Can somebody just tell me right now? Like,
Now,
whatever you think of Moxley's in ring work, he's not better than Bobby Eaton. On no fucking planet is he better than Bobby Eaton.
well, now I kind of want to see like an Earl Robert Eaton black and white video set to the Death Riders theme song.
Somebody go ahead and make it. It'd be hilarious. And third best guy in the Don Callis family. Look, I like Kyle Fletcher. I think Fletcher's got to have like another couple of years before I'm sold on him being what a lot of people are already convinced that he is. And honestly, his turnaround right after Full Gear 2024 is fascinating because he went from a really insufferable motherfucker to watch to like, no, he's like one of the best guys in AEW. And I think he's great. I don't think he's better than Bobby fucking Eaton right now, though.
No. By the way, I should. When I was talking about like UPW before, I can't see Dave's tweets. I just don't get them on my feed. So, just to reiterate,
somebody screenshotted that and sent it to me because they knew what my reaction would be.
Yeah,
I was just like, you can put Bobby Eaton over, but like if he left that part out and just put like if he was around today, he'd have match of the year level matches with everybody that fucking Dave ended up naming. Like, there you go. That's a nice compliment. But like, oh, he'd be the second best guy in this stable. He's better than Claudio. He's damn sure better than Yuta. He's better than Pac. He's better than Daniel Garcia. He's better than Moxley. He's better than Marina Shafir. Who else is in the fucking group? Because they're not better than Bobby Eaton. And it's like every time I get sent something of like Dave talking about anything, it's just like, man, if Dave could just, go away.
Yeah, just give me those archival Observer books, and I'm good.
Like, if Dave could just fuck off forever, that would be awesome.
I just don't listen to his stuff anymore. I mean, it's been a long time since I listened to any of his reports or anything.
Yeah, it just also feels like people are still using what he says as their argument, and it's like, dog, this motherfucker unironically rated a match 7 stars out of 5.
Did he ever actually rate Mercedes and Maya World?
To my knowledge, no.
I mean, it was very funny that people that were like, upset that he didn't, because at the end of the day, I mean, who really cares? But, yeah, I don't know. It was just, the whole thing was very strange.
I get why people are like, hey, why won't you rate the match? And after a while, him not doing it's a funny bit, but it's also Dave. This motherfucker tried to act like he has like this concept of like reverse inflation. Well, a 5-star match from 20 years ago would be 3.5 now. No, Dave, flip it around. Then you've got it right. Because I see matches he gave 5 to in the last like 7 or 8 years, and I'm like, that's like an old money 3 3/4. What the fuck are we doing here? And the thing that annoys me is like that, like the DVD VR newsletters used to be like a good entry point for somebody who wanted to branch out and watch more wrestling.
Right.
You can't do it. Like, everything's fucking 4 stars now. How the fuck? Where do you start? You can't link somebody to like the Meltzer Star Ratings blog spot anymore. Because it's going to tell you, basically, if you look at it, you're going to think anything before like 2013 is completely fucking useless, unless it's 90s All Japan.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're going to miss out on so much shit you'd never watch otherwise, just because one fucking stupid little guy in San Jose didn't put enough fucking asterisks next to his review.
I saw someone that I did see a tweet the other day that claimed that he said he like speaks at a university or something. And this person said they called the university, and whoever they spoke to said like he talked for us at one time and hasn't been back since or something. And I was like, that's a level of dedication, is calling the university to see if how many times Dave Meltzer has spoke there. And I was like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I don't. I just. He's a guy that the more I read from him, like old stuff, the more I'm convinced this dude genuinely never understood what the fuck it was he was watching. And people have taken it. I saw an Instagram post that cracked me the fuck up because it was like a picture of Vince and Shawn Michaels, and then you swipe to the next slide, and it's a picture of Dave and a picture of Ospreay. And it clicked in my head, like, like Vince's commentary during Shawn's entrances in '96, where he's just like, he's going nuts to try to convince you Shawn Michaels is like the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. And God damn it, you'd better love this guy. I saw that and it clicked in my head, like, yeah, that's Dave, like 2 years ago after All Out, where he's like sitting there giggling, like, oh, there's never been anybody like Will Ospreay. Like, oh, you're doing the fucking '96 Vince thing for your fucking reader base because you want them to vote Ospreay Wrestler of the Year every year so you can do the big write up when your guy gets in the Hall of Fame or whatever the fuck. Like, the Observer's no longer like a newsletter that earnestly covers matches. It's a marketing tool.
Mm.
And I guess you could argue it always was, but there's a point, like, do you read those old '90s Observers and like those first Hall of Fame issues and like the obituaries and stuff, and it's like Dave was on his shit at one point, and he's not that
Yeah,
guy anymore.
no.
He's been poisoned. He's been corrupted by fucking going to PWG and having the wrestlers fucking gas him up so that they get the big star rating so they get signed.
Do you see him at Arena Mexico?
I saw the GIF and I was like, oh yeah, that's something that wouldn't have happened in a fucking previous era. But
It was just funny that they introduced him, and it's like, but it's also like, who really cares? Again, it's like, I don't care if they introduce him at all. Like, I just don't. But to see like people lose their shit and they're like, oh, he doesn't deserve this and they must be paid off and all that shit. It's just like, get real. Who gives a shit, really? Like,
I will say, there was somebody in a Discord call years ago that went to Japan and met somebody who was there when the original UWF cut Dave Meltzer a check to review Takada and Yamazaki and give it 5.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought that story was really funny.
I guess my thing is just that I've never really paid attention to his reviews. Like, I used to listen to Observer, I mean, religiously on like Sports Byline and IATA back in the day. But when it came to like the matches themselves, I don't remember thinking like, oh, I need to watch this because Dave said it was a really good match or anything. It's just like, I like what I like, and if I see a match that I think is going to be interesting, I'll check it out. But I didn't like let his opinions. I think I got more out of Corey's wrestling tapes than anything Dave said.
Um, so Cody Hall left this comment on the Weekly Pro post on Instagram about Ryohei Oiwa winning the G1, and it looks like he's since removed it in the
Oh,
15 seconds since I screen kept it.
that's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so Cody Hall made a really transphobic comment about Ryohei Oiwa.
Well, there's a reason why Cody Hall's where he's at, which is apparently nowhere.
I mean, there's a reason, like, that guy fucking how when you look at it, it's like, how is that guy not signed given who his dad is and who his dad was friends with or whatever? This guy was so fucking insufferable the Young Bucks did not want him around.
Yeah, I mean, there's your answer, right?
He dumbed himself out of being in Pro Wrestling Noah and DDT by making a fucking racist joke about Asian women. When Chris Dickinson, who's there's another guy that's fucking nowhere, was like posting on his first trip to Japan, like, Cody Hall had no fucking talent. The only thing I had going for him was his last name and the money that he stole from his dad to go to the New Japan dojo. None of those guys fucking liked him at all. And I would bet you anything that whichever young buck it was that did the Jeff Hardy dive that fucked up Cody Hall's neck before they told him, yeah, you're done in New Japan. I don't think whatever Jackson brother that was lost any goddamn sleep.
Mm.
What a fucking loser, man.
Yep.
His dad was one of the best ever, though.
Yeah, maybe if he had the hair, he might have got some there with that, but
Yeah,
he
he's a
doesn't even have
fucking bald douchebag.
the hair to go with it.
I clicked the see hidden comments and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like a Japanese fan that's like, ah, fuck, I wish it was, I don't know who the fuck the Japanese fans would have wanted in that spot. But no, it was Cody Hall saying some dumb shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's all he's got going for him is posting in the comments because he's not going to be on the show anytime soon. Maybe he could wrestle for Heat Up or something.
Oh yeah, like Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just looked at his Instagram stories and he's sharing some racist shit on here. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Is he signed to UPW yet?
I'm sending him a DM calling him a fucking loser because he can't do anything about it.
I should mention too that the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix is also going on now, along with the G1. It's been a pretty good tournament. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the amount of draws because there has been a lot of draws in it. But I don't know. I don't really mind the draws, especially when there's a 15-minute time limit. It adds tension to the last few minutes of the match. It would be a different thing. It was like if the match limit was like half an hour or an hour, and you had all those draws. I'd be like, oh, please stop. A lot of the matches last night followed the same formula. It's like whatever hate wrestles, they're gonna throw their opponents into a bunch of chairs, and there was a whole lot of that last night. Julia Hart, of course, is in the tournament. She replaced Bea Priestley. Has not been good, unfortunately. I mean, she's gained more confidence the more matches she's had. It's funny how that works. If you let someone actually work, they'll be more confident in the ring. She definitely seems to like being in Japan. But as far as in ring goes, I think it was her second match. She did the moonsault, which is like she lands on her feet and then she does like a mini splash, and it was just like, ugh. And she drags her opponent into the corner as close as possible, which is like pretty bad for a moonsault, right? It's like she doesn't trust herself getting any distance on it. I mean, she's had some matches that were okay, mostly due to the opponent that she's working with. But to see her go over like a bunch of talent she has no right going over at this stage is like was sort of like, oh, this sucks. But she's eliminated now. Kamitani's eliminated. Utani's eliminated. Utami. So yeah, the finals are kind of like wild right now. It seems like it's being set up for Starlight Kid to win. But we'll see what happens.
I think it's interesting when like a round robin tournament happens that has a bunch of draws because it just reminds me of like those the table graphics from like the old champion carnivals, and it's just like you see the draw symbol fucking everywhere.
Yeah. Also, like the draw song they use in Stardom is a banger, as they say. So anytime that hits, I'm okay with it.
I feel like I'm about to sneeze, and I hate that feeling. I wish it would just happen.
It's the worst. Recovering sneezes now, everybody.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Buddy Landell thing?
Yeah. So apparently, Buddy Landell's family have told KWK that they're not willing to wait for the figure, which is disappointing. But my friend said, I feel like whoever the family is wanted paid now instead of waiting for the figure to actually be made. If so, it's kind of ironic that they Buddy Landelled themselves out of a deal since he was infamous for ruining it for himself when he was about to get a big break. It sucks because Buddy's a guy that deserves a figure because he was awesome. He was so good. And KWK was the perfect line because it would have been a super limited figure, so you don't run the risk of there being like 1,500 Buddy Landells that went unsold.
I feel like this goes back to the video games again, right? Like, these families that are waiting for these games to come out, you know, how long are they actually willing to wait?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing here is that, like, KWK does pay a little bit up front, from my understanding, and then you get the actual, like, what do you call it? Like the big drop, if there is one, when the figures actually come out, like when the pre-orders close.
Hmm.
And I hate that he's being replaced by Paul Diamond, Max Moon, but it also seems like Sean has a good relationship with Paul Diamond, because we're getting the Max Moon 2-pack next year
Yeah.
in the O-Ring Heroes line. Again, Ahmed Johnson was announced, which when he posted that graphic with the silhouettes, I was like, oh, it's clearly Ahmed.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know that. I know that silhouette. I know that picture with his arms crossed right away.
Yeah, like I'm not sure that I still think the tag team is the Powers of Pain, but I'm pretty sure it is.
That one's kind of hard to tell by the silhouette.
Yeah, because like I tried to look up a Powers of Pain picture, and there's not one of them like that, unless that's no chance it's Demolition, right?
Maybe possible still if he's already signed them.
It looks like the guy's got a hooded sweatshirt on, or like some sort of vest.
It's Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik.
God.
It's the Bolsheviks.
It's Private Jim Nelson and Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter, unironically, would be a huge one for that line if you could get him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like such an obvious no-brainer. You could make a lot of money doing a Sergeant Slaughter O-ring figure, I think. I'm trying. Oh, the Zombie Sailor Owen Hart figures are in hand. I got mine. I know, like I said, when the figure was announced, I thought the head sculpt was a pretty decent likeness. I know what what picture it's based on. I do think it looks better in person. My biggest problem with that figure is that it's the same body as Hardcore Holly, or Sparkplug, or Thurman Bob Core, whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little skinny, even by Zombie Sailor standards. So I like the figure. I'm glad I have it. I've wanted a Hasbro style King of Hearts Owen for like 32 years. But also, when I got the shipping notification for this, I forgot it was a thing. Like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
dead ass completely free. This is one of the longest pre-order waits ever for Zombie, like 15 months almost.
yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, like that's not quite Series 1 Jeff Jarrett and Danhausen, but it's up there. Certainly. And also, no fucking update on New Jacker Series 2, which were both supposed to be solicited months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, I'm sure around the time those pre-orders go live, it'll be like, fuck yeah, Pinnacle Collection Series 2. But he released those. He did the 1 of 500 Jarrett for Walmart. You can get the figures on Walmart's website, which says to me either he had either what he has on Walmart's website is what didn't sell before he had to cut the pre-orders due to the tariffs, or he ordered a second run. I don't know which one I would believe, to be honest.
I'm not sure.
But those figures are amazing. The Abdullah, who, by the way, Abdullah fell off my shelf at one point.
Oh yeah, I remember you said that.
Like, Jared had fallen, and I was like, well, fuck, thank God it wasn't Abdullah, because that's a heavy son of a bitch.
Yeah, mine's in the
Abdullah,
ring, so he can't go anywhere.
but my Abby ended up falling, and now he's okay. He hasn't budged. None of these have budged really in a hot minute, which is nice. Bundy's literally in the exact same spot he was when I got him. But those figures are incredible. Like the team deserves all the praise in the world for the job they did on those.
Yeah.
And there was like well, they don't have double jointed elbows. Like, yeah, I don't care. They look really good. It's kind of my thing. Like, more articulation on somebody like Abdullah or Bundy likely means the figure looks shittier. And also, like, compare that Bundy to the Mattel one. One of them is King Kong Bundy size. The other's the Mattel figure. Oh, we have to talk about this. Speaking of action figures, My Damn Toys has heard. I don't know if you said this publicly, so a prominent wrestling figure YouTuber is also on the Super 7 AEW rumor.
Oh, okay.
And I know a lot of people in the wrestling collector space dipped out of knowing anything about Super 7 once the New Japan figures came and went.
Right.
I'll say this, they're using the same factory now, apparently, for the Ultimates that Mondo uses for their figures, which means the newer figures feel really high quality in hand. The one downside, however, is their articulation scheme is not going to be, it's not going to be as progressive as the Supreme figures were. You might get about the same articulation as the regular AEW, like Unrivaled Unmatched figures. And also, go on.
When do you think they'll actually announce something? Because I think a lot of people probably thought like Comic-Con was going to be the place, but obviously nothing came of it.
So the thought process is, if this deal is done, it's going to be Toy Fair.
Okay, yeah. I guess that's the next big event, right?
Right. I did see a couple of people speculating there might be a tease at Comic-Con, like New York Comic-Con. I got to be honest, I don't see that happening. I guess anything's possible, but it feels like we're not gonna hear anything about this until the Jazzwares deal is finally over in January. One of the things that I was told was that there's a feeling that AEW valued the toy license much higher than potential suitors would have been willing to pay.
Yeah, I can see
And on
that.
the surface, that sounds a little silly, right? Until I tell you, like, yeah, that's also what I've heard about the video games, is that they value their license at a certain fucking amount, and it may or may not have alienated one or two publishers that might have been able to help get the game over the line.
Interesting.
And I know that there was, I shouldn't say I know because I don't really look, but there was a rumor that they were possibly going to be doing something with THQ Nordic again, because I guess the THQ Nordic, what is it, the showcase or whatever they do around Gamescom, that was happening recently, and there were people that had kicked up a rumor that there was going to be another AEW announcement. What I was told is
They're adding
that
Paige to the game.
her model was finished.
Yeah, I know.
Her model was finished, and there were a couple. I think Yuta was another one that I'd heard. Shout outs to the person from THQ. It's like, oh yeah, no, Samoa Joe's not in the game, and then the trailer came out for him that day, and I was like, motherfucker. And then, like, my memory's fuzzy on what their response was, but my memory is that it boiled down to basically like, oh, I didn't know that's who you were talking about.
Oh, the other Samoa Joe. No, Roman Reigns isn't in the game.
But there was a rumor that they'd reached out to THQ Nordic, and they'd basically gotten told, like, yeah, not after last time. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I have heard that. I've heard that they've actively pursued finding somebody because, like Kenny said it and Tony said it, they want another shot. The problem is, if they don't take their fucking lessons from the first game, the second game's doomed too. Not doomed 2, but doomed, space 2. And I think that the key thing here is, if you're going to go and get us on and all of the Aki devs, give them a budget and leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Why did we need fucking, Why did we need creative meetings involving Adam fucking Cole about mini games?
Yeah, I mean, we've been down this road a lot before. It's sad what happened with Fight Forever, and definitely they need to learn the lesson if they're going to try it again. And I don't know. It's just we'll see if it happens.
We're much closer to an announcement on an action figure deal than anything involving a
Oh,
video game. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Because Tony even was asked about it. I think Dave asked him about it at like one of the pay-per-views last year. Or it might have been this year. At some point, he got asked, and it was by Dave, like, do you have any update on the toy deal? And Tony said something like, there's going to be an announcement soon that I think is going to be, was it more exciting or more beneficial for the fans? It was one of the two. And I don't know that Super 7 would be exciting to fans in the know.
No,
But one thing about Super 7 people need to consider is they're losing TMNT in January.
that's
They
right. Yeah.
dialed way back on GI Joe Ultimates, and they
Well, they
no
need
longer have
something.
Motu. Yeah, so like there's a chance AEW becomes their biggest license for Ultimates. And what I'm really curious to see is the difference between the Ultimates and then the deluxe figures they do at retail, which are just the stripped down. It's the Ultimates with way less accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Because one's online exclusive, the other actually gets to Target. And I'm curious to see how this plays out if it is Super 7. Like I said, their figures are better now than they were, 5-6 years ago when the New Japan figures were solicited, and 5 years ago when the first set released, 4 years ago when the second series released.
Remember that Andre they made?
Dude, I had the IWE one that Brian Flynn from Super 7 tried to argue with me was actually from IWA, and I was like, no, IWA was the sanctioning body, and he's like, I have printed materials saying that it was IWA, and I was like, I'm willing to bet if you open that book, you're going to see the letters IWE, motherfucker. The figure looked like John Goodman when he had a mullet on Roseanne. But and that's another thing, like TJ Shevlin, who was the designer on the New Japan line, great guy. He's not at Super 7 anymore. Kyle Wogoda, who is a wrestling fan and was like a rock star designing a lot of the really well received Super 7 stuff in the last 2 years, he's been at Mattel since last year working on the DC Collector line. So who's gonna design these motherfuckers?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm very curious to see what they end up looking like. I imagine the first series will be a mix of like new and legends. I mean, I got to put Sting in the first series, right?
Dude, Super 7 Sting might actually be great.
Yeah.
I feel like Super 7, especially because Brian Flynn is like a nerd for doing 80s and 90s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like Surfer Sting from Super 7 would be the Hail Mary. Like out of everybody they would do in Series 1, I think that would be the one that they would really go for it.
Yeah, maybe like Sting and Foley and somebody.
If they stick to 4 characters, my ideal realistic lineup would be like Osprey, Kenny, Sting, and like you have to have one of the women. I would say Tony Storm or Mercedes or Willow. Depending
Yeah, I
on the
mean
day, it could change.
that's a good
But
starting lineup.
yeah, and I guess if they're asking for a big price, it explains why the McFarlane rumor kind of died.
Mm,
Because Todd's not a huge wrestling fan, and I don't get the feeling if Todd was working with pro wrestling, he would want it to be WWE. He wouldn't want the secondary brand.
yeah.
And I brought that up to somebody, and they were like, "Well, it's funny because he took DC and not Marvel." And it's like, well, he kind of didn't have a choice. The Marvel license was not up for grabs when the DC one was, and the DC one was a good pull because it brought a lot of people into the McFarlane toys, like fucking what do you call it, the ecosystem, because people started buying the Spawn figures too because they had DC and Spawn figures that were compatible.
Mm-hmm.
And now apparently Todd's got the Marvel Select license, so who fucking knows? And speaking of comics, Marvel did the thing that a lot of people have been screaming at them about for 2 years. They did announce 8.5 by 5.5 $10 compact comics. There's a Miles Morales book and a Gwenpool book coming out in March, and then in April they're releasing the first half of Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman and the Ultimates by Dennis Camp. And then I think the first half of Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko is next, and then Black Panther, Ultimate Black Panther is the last one in June. I thought it was really funny that there were people like, well, they could have released these next month if they wanted to. No, DC announced their compact line like a full 6 months or so before they actually came out. Like it actually does take time to print stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And DC's been announcing their compact stuff for the first half of next year. And there's a very interesting sentiment about the DC compacts emerging that I kind of figured was going to be something that would come up at some point. And this isn't even a negative, but this could hurt the line long term, is that they're not doing follow-ups to some of these books. Like
Gotcha.
American Vampire Book 1, they've still not done a sequel. Yeah. Snyder and Capullo Batman Court of Owls, they didn't do a follow-up.
Right.
Tom Taylor Nightwing, apparently that book did way better than DC thought it was going to do. And they were kind of shocked by it. There's no announcement for like the follow-up books in the Tom Taylor run. And I saw somebody point out like, well, Marvel is doing the second Brubaker Captain America trade in the Premier line. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting. Cause like I've dunked on Marvel's publishing wing for the longest time on the show, cause head up the ass permanently. But you see the compact announcement and you see some of the Premier Collection announcements, and something happened there in the last few months. Because like we have 2 X-Men Premier Collections coming out from October to April. They're finally doing a classic Spider-Man in the Premier Collection with Kraven's Last Hunt. You look at the compact comics announcements they've done, people were yelling at them when the DC compact started, like, you guys need to do this with the Ultimate Universe, the same way they were doing it with DC about the Absolute Universe. Like, you need to get these books out as cheaply as possible so that people can come in. And I saw Dennis Camp's take that, and I don't agree with all of this, but he said, like, you don't collect books you love in the compact format, you collect books you want to try. I collect stuff I love in the compact format because I like being able to just grab it off the shelf and I don't have to worry about like finding a table to lay an omnibus on.
Right.
It's more comfortable to read, but it is a good way to get people in. And in his tweet, he said, like, if you like the book, you'll buy a nicer version of it later, which is true. Granted, I did the opposite. I had absolutes of some of the compacts and I just bought the compacts. But like, yeah, like you should have your contemporary stuff out in this form factor. And I know that like, and I heard this from the guys at the comic shop that I go to, so it's not like, it's not a rumor, this is the actual thing. DC doesn't want to do the Absolute Universe in that form factor and that price point because they don't want to cannibalize the actual trade paperbacks. Which I get, because you're selling the trades for 20, but like, and I know that Marvel just killed the Ultimate Universe, which was stupid. I thought it was stupid when I heard about it. Like, oh, so you're going to let it run for 2 years just because like they do the Ultimate Universe and then the Absolute Universe happens, and the Absolute Universe has Batman, which is a great book. And it just feels like the fucking former editor-in-chief was like, oh, well, we'll just do something else. People still liked those Ultimate books, even when some of them started to fall off a little bit. And I think when they see the sales numbers for those compacts, we're going to get the Ultimate Universe coming back. There's like almost no fucking way we don't. Like, people seem genuinely excited for those. And my worry is like, you've seen some of the like books they've announced for like the DC compacts, right?
Yep.
My concern is not that they're doing stuff that isn't like Preacher or like 100 Bullets. I'm excited for those. But they're doing a lot of books like that don't seem to, like, the whole point of the compacts was like new readers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of stuff coming that doesn't seem super friendly to new readers, which is fine. You can make books for the sickos like me. I'll buy them. But that paired with like, well, if I buy this and it's the first volume, am I going to get the second? I don't want to see anything happen to the DC Compacts line. And I don't think anything will as long as the sales stay strong. But with everybody having a digest size form factor and IDW really hammering the big licenses with that, some of these lines are not like some of these lines are not going to hit the peaks that they were when they were first introduced. And I don't want DC to be the old DC and see that something's not doing as well as it was before and pull the plug on it.
Scrap it, yeah.
And that's
I,
kind of my thing with Marvel is like, what if the compacts come out of the gate and because I guess the premiere collections do really well, even though like they don't end up topping like the end of the month charts. Apparently Marvel's happy with how those are selling. What if the compacts come out and they do, let's say, a little bit better than the premieres at first, but then it kind of evens out? Are they going to fucking jettison the compacts for the premieres?
I think the compacts will always be around in some form when it comes to like the more popular characters, but like
Yeah.
some other stuff, like I think that's where it'll suffer, right? Like if they do a compact of let's just say Preacher, for example, like let's say that doesn't sell very well, then they'll just rebound with like, here's another Batman book, you know?
Yeah, and I've also seen people that are like, why hasn't year one come out in this form factor? Like when they did Arkham Asylum, which I love that story, the compact is awful. It's the worst compact because it's so fucking hard to read. I think they could have done year one in its place and it probably would have sold just as well. The idea that like we know up through like the midway point of next year and one of the most iconic Batman stories still isn't being collected is kind of insane.
Yeah, they should get Batman 89 and Superman 78 in compacts.
Yeah, I think not to be like they should release everything in compact, but they should release everything in compact. Like
Yeah,
this
pretty
is,
much.
I understand that these are like loss leaders, and the idea is like if people like these, they'll buy the big trades. It's also just beyond that an effective way for people on a budget to interact with your shit, and maybe that $10 compact turns into an $8 movie ticket.
Yeah, exactly. It's very easy for people to, be in the grocery store or whatever and see a compact there for like $10 and like, okay, I'll pick this up. And never really touch the special editions or whatever. It's a quick and easy read. It's a fantastic idea. And yeah, I would hate to say like them just scrap it and if there's some books that don't do well or whatever, but I don't think that's going to be a problem, honestly.
No, the DC in 2026 is not the DC of like 2009 or 2015. I always worry.
Yeah.
And the same, like I said, with Marvel, like if these compacts don't initially hit projected sales, or if they do it first and then the next wave after the Ultimates doesn't, does Marvel give up? Does IDW give up if those Turtles books sell below expectations? Do they decide to not do their own Turtles run?
Yeah, I mean,
And then
I
you have
just hope
like,
everyone does well because I want everything in compact.
I do too, because it's cost effective as hell.
Yeah. Like you give me like
Like
the Terminator comics or RoboCop comics, Predator, Aliens, everything.
apparently, Marvel's got Star Wars compacts coming, and I'm curious to see what's
Oh, that's cool.
collected in those. Because like there's a couple of recent stuff like Jason Aaron sucks, and I'm terrified at the idea of him writing the absolute crossover. But apparently his Darth Vader book is like consensus the best book he ever wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm down to buy that if it's $10.
Yeah, of course.
I think Ben Percy was the one that did the Maul Black, White, and Red book. I'll buy a compact of that. There was the one just regular Star Wars book that ran for a few issues last year that I read. I thought that was good too. They keep killing their books. It's insane.
I wish
But
those
then,
Indiana Jones collections were like $10 instead of being like $100 each or whatever they are.
yeah, I think there's a chance if those do well, we get them in more form factors. I think if those sell below whatever their expectations are, we're gonna be up shit fucking creek.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's been a lot of talk lately about like if certain books sell well, getting them in other form factors. Like there's a Cassandra Cain omnibus coming out that basically, I guess the idea is it's only getting done because they had to rush the finest back into a second print. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody at DC's like, oh well, there's demand. Let's get it out. And I think I think if you look at what's happening, the compact lines are the way forward. I understand that like cost cutting with some of them is a problem. Like DC made the concession to use newsprint. Marvel's just using like the omnibus paper stock, which is like that brand new day book. I don't like that they jumped around. Like it's like an anthology book instead of like just a straight through story. But in hand, it feels super premium. It feels better than even the IDW ones. And
Yeah, I
I
have that.
think
I haven't read it yet.
the Spider-Man one,
Yep.
there's some cool stories in there, but I wish they didn't jump around so much. Like anthology stories are fine, but like that's like a multiple year run. You could have just picked like the first 12 issues and had at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing with those Marvel compacts. They're all like 12 issues. That's an incredible value for $10. Like some of these compacts, like the Daredevil ones that were 25, those are really high quality, but they're not they're not a better value than the fucking Spider-Man book that's $10, even though it's an anthology book. They're not a better value than the IDW books that are $13 and they collect like 600 pages of shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna see page counts becoming an issue with these. And again, Arkham Asylum, $10 for like whatever you get there. It's not enough story. The Joker book, it's like $10 for 100 pages. It's not enough. But they've also done, Long Halloween was like sub 400. Watchmen
Yeah.
was sub 400. And I know that not every book can hit like a magical page quota, but I am a little bit more inclined to buy the ones that are higher page counts for the price point now. Because you're getting more story, whether it's good or not in the end, who's to say, but like more for your money is always a good thing, especially in the current like economy.
Yeah, of course.
And like I said, those $10 compacts, they could turn into an $8 movie ticket. They could turn into a $20 action figure or a $70 video game. It's an interesting and unique opportunity, especially because they do like those display units do pop up in places like gas stations and grocery stores and drugstores. It's an interesting way to potentially create like a lifetime fan. And when I
Yeah.
see people shit on that form factor, I'm just like, you don't want comics to grow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think the Woman of Tomorrow did much for the Supergirl movie.
No, no, I feel really bad for Millie
Yeah,
Atcock
because
because that
she was really good in it.
that's the thing I've heard about that movie. The one really positive thing is like she's really great in that movie.
I mean, I liked it overall. I thought it was pretty inoffensive. I mean, there's definitely changes from the comics, and it's definitely not the same story. But I think her performance like really carries it. Um, I don't know if you saw this week, but there was behind the scenes of the director, Craig
Oh, the
Gillespie.
AI thing.
Yeah. Um, all I'll say about that is like, if you think he's the only person that's using AI, or if you think like they're the only studio that's using AI and not disclosing it, then you're being very naive. Like, I imagine it's like all over the industry right now.
It is, but it's
Um,
still bad.
oh no, I'm not saying it's not. I just think like, I swear to God, there's something against DC. Like, there's definitely like feels like some sort of like media pushed, especially from like Variety, where people just pile on shit like nonstop, and it just feels like that in particular. Like, not that it's not bad, it's just that everyone's doing it, but it's like, oh my God, look at this, isn't this awful?
Variety
Um,
also sucks.
they do
It
indeed,
always has.
and there was also like the cancellation, and then it was like said that they're not cancelled, but like they're on the back burner right now of like the Waller show, and is the HBO apparently had passed on like a Catwoman and Poison Ivy show, and like a Paradise Lost is on the back burner as well, and people are like, oh my God, what is DC doing, yada yada yada.
It's not good to have that stuff coming out, though. I will say that. But
No,
also, like,
but the people that shout loudest about these things are the ones that didn't want them in the first place.
I think we have a problem with the cinematic universes, and I guess Marvel learned their fucking lesson. The the fucking like spin-off shows about like side characters, you don't need those. Like I get
Yeah.
that there's like a Jimmy Olsen show that got announced, and to be perfectly clear, I do not want more of Jimmy Olsen as he was in that movie. Um, I just I don't like Jimmy Olsen being an asshole, and we'll have our debate about the Jean Grey thing, I'm sure. But like, why do we need a Jimmy Olsen series?
I think the thing is that people are focusing too much on the Jimmy Olsen aspect and not the fact that it's going to be used to introduce different villains. Like, I think it's going to be the bigger deal in that show is going to be Gorilla Grodd as opposed to like this is a Jimmy Olsen story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also like everything with both of these cinematic universes is so shaky and scheduled, like subject to change.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's been talked about a bunch. Like if Man of Tomorrow doesn't do like an insane number, what the fuck does that mean for the DCU going forward anyway?
But also, like, what does that number have to be? Because there's so many people that it doesn't matter how much it'll make, it's not enough. So who
Yeah, but
knows?
random people on Twitter, that shit doesn't matter. Like what matters is like what is the magic number for Warner Brothers? And then there's all the drama with the fucking merger. And then on top of that, what does the Paramount side think the number needs to be?
Hmm. And we're
And
probably not. We're probably not going to know. Like, really.
no, it's the movie's going to come out. It's going to do whatever it does. And then if it does really well, it's going to be like they're super happy with it. If it comes in anywhere close to what 2025 did, we're going to hear about it being a failure, even though that's still an egregious amount of money to pull in.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like it's why I tell people when you see those graphics of like the slate of upcoming shit, and I was telling people this with the MCU years ago, you don't know that shit's all actually going to come out. And if it does, we don't know if the stuff that it sets up is going to come out. And so like I want what I want from both of these universes is maximize the characters that you have in the moment that you have them. Tell as complete a story as you fucking can with them. And if it connects to something else, that's good. Do not do streaming shows specifically to set up future movies. There is no fucking guarantee.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But speaking of which, London starts tonight, and I know you don't have any interest in that, but that's gotten good reviews, so I mean, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I saw what was it? Somebody sent me a screenshot of the Rotten Tomatoes review score, and I was like, "That's cool." Rotten Tomatoes also has a really high score for X-Men '97 season 2, and I really was not sweet on the back end of that season.
Ooh, that's
You could
that was
tell when the What If writer took over in that last episode because fucking What If Apocalypse fucking possessed Gambit. Like what if you guys just like Bo DeMaio still has a writing credit on like a bunch of these episodes. Just do his fucking shit, and then in season 3, do whatever you want.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Um,
the first half, like up to the Brood Verine episode, I was like, all right, we're cooking. We're good. The one after that I thought was okay. And then like the last 3, I was just like, they're like barreling towards a resolution here, and I'm not entirely sure what it is or what it's setting up. And I guess we know now it's setting up the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants being the bad guys in season 3, which, oh boy.
well, you said to me like earlier in the season, when you were like happy with the episodes, you were like, I'm liking this, but they are like sort of like, I forget what word you use, but sort of like not speed running, but they're not giving a lot of like a very fast pace. Like they're not giving a lot of time for things to settle down, and that's how I felt about like the whole season. It's like they were just like speed running through it all, and it lacked the drama of season one. Obviously, there was nothing like
Yes.
as dramatic as the big events in the first season, but in this season, it didn't feel like there was really anything that dramatic. It felt like the dramatic moments were undercooked, like Gambit returning and what happens at the end of the last episode. It's just like they happened. There was no like big build up. It felt like it's just like,
Right.
okay, these things happen now. Let's move on.
They had to rush through not even that they had to, they chose to rush through everything. The cast of this season was so fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were juggling X-Force, X-Factor, the
Oh
X-Men,
my
plus
god.
Apocalypse, and it was like they did every fucking thing imaginable. And at the end, I was like, in the way they get rid of Apocalypse, like he's trapped in the little fucking thingamabob.
Yeah, the Phantom Zone. Yeah, it was like
Like
the
that was like the least satisfying ending. And also, Gambit's just back. And oh, by the way, we've killed Nightcrawler because
yeah, it was very lame.
it was stupid. Like, why couldn't we have just had like I know the whole idea was that we were going to give way to Onslaught at the second half of the season, and that was going to set up AOA. Look, Bo DeMaio is a fucking creep, but they used his shit for so much of the season. Why not go all the way with it?
Exactly, yeah. Um,
Unless the idea is you're saving Onslaught for like the next big fucking Avengers movie villain after Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, I just
it it was also like very funny to be like that's not as well versed in the comics. Like you had the X-Men, then you've got like the X-Corps, and you've got um now you're dealing with the X Factor, and then you had what was the other one?
X Force. That was Cable's group.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Or sure to say them.
And there's like all these different things. I'm like, oh my god, what's next? XPW, um, SEX from TNA. It's just
Yeah,
going on and
they
on.
were adapting so much shit at once, and I was just like, we really need 20 episode seasons if you guys are gonna fucking try to do this much.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that it's modern TV and we can't have 20 episode seasons, but there's a real fucking pacing problem with that show.
Yeah,
And it felt like it wasn't present in the first season. It felt like things were more um like things had more time to build, things were more compressed. And it really
yeah.
felt like they stretched the shit where they were in the past out way longer than they needed to. I also thought it was funny that Xavier did what Twitter called the Holocaust beam to Apocalypse,
Oh
like that shit
god,
in the animated series where he hits Magneto with it.
yeah.
He did that shit to Apocalypse too, and it's like people really think like people have this like weird idea that Xavier's like a good guy. Like, no, he's a piece of shit. Like he's always been a piece of shit. The X-Men are fucking child soldiers, bro. This is not a good guy. And I saw people saying like this is so uncharacteristic. Like he literally does it to Magneto in the original series.
I thought it was that Bo DeMaio's um idea of the Xavier turning the X-Men into actually more militant. Um, and then it ended up being that he was I forget who he was possessed by. Um, but that idea, I think that sounded interesting. I think it would be a lot more interesting to see that play out than obviously what they went with.
Yeah, there were a lot of. I'll put it this way: I'm gonna watch season 3 because it's that version of those characters.
Yeah, I mean it's
I
still the
am
X-Men.
not. I'm not expecting fucking like anything out of that show.
Yeah, super disappointing because again, season one was so high quality and this just really didn't hit for me.
My favorite episode, honestly, is probably the Broodverine one because they grafted fucking aliens onto the Brood Saga onto Feral Wolverine.
Yeah, I mean, I I didn't really care for that episode because I was like, I know you're just doing aliens, and it also just it was like the break between the main story, right? So it felt like sort of out of place to me. I was like, wait, where are we now? What are we doing? I didn't hate it or anything. It's just it wasn't. I didn't think it was like great.
I like the idea of giving Logan one episode per season where he just does Wolverine shit. Because that would happen in the comics. Like you'd open an X-Men issue and it's like, oh, it's a Wolverine issue.
Yeah.
Um, apparently he's got one in season 3, and I'm terrified to fucking find out what it is. I do not trust that it's going to be satisfactory, but he's apparently got one. And they announced the X-Men cast, and somebody apparently just wrote down the words "bad bitches" on a piece of paper and circled it and said, "Go do it."
um, I do think it was very funny seeing people say like, "Holy shit!" and then in the same tweet, like following up with, "I've never seen this person in anything. What have they been in?" It's like, You're freaking out over someone you don't even know.
Oh, it's the WWE fans when somebody that they pretended they hated shows up. Yeah.
Oh, it's Gulia. Gulia's in WWE now. Yeah. It
The
was very
one
much the
the
same
one little
thing.
British kid when Nakamura was announced who made a video calling him Shinsuke Nakarama.
Nice. Nakarama.
Oh
Um,
fuck.
yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm very curious to see, what this ends up being like. I have no idea. I don't know how they're going to introduce Magneto. Um,
He might not be in the
I
first
don't know.
movie because Adam Driver was cast as Sinister.
Yeah, it's possible, but they're not going to stay away from him for long. Like he's definitely going to be
Oh
up
no,
in the follow up. Um,
he's gonna be there. Yeah.
yeah, I guess there's still more cast to be announced because there was a guy that was supposed to be Beast who like dropped out. Uh, and I think it was another character I can't remember that people expected that wasn't there.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what they do because they've also started mentioning like the Krakoa era of the X-Men, and I've started reading through the Dawn of X omnibus, and there's some really interesting stuff with like the X-Men living on Krakoa and basically being like, hey, so we've created these drugs on our island that cure all these fucking diseases, and if you want them, all you've got to do is acknowledge that we're a nation and maybe leave us the fuck alone.
Mm.
And they bring like there's like world leaders that come in and like they're showing everybody the shit, and Magneto's like, oh, by the way, that shit you do where y'all decide we're like a menace and you fuck with us, yeah, I'm begging you to try it now. I'm begging you to try me again. Like it's a really interesting setup. Again, I'm super early into the saga, so I don't know necessarily how things end. But the way it's written and the way it's paced, it's such an interesting story that I don't think anybody involved in Marvel Studios has a snowball shot in hell of handling it in a faithful manner.
Yeah, we were doing so good, and we lost you there for like a bit when you were talking about the story of that, but we got the gist of it.
Yeah,
Um,
my bad.
no, it's the
I'm
only time
using
you've
new
like, yeah, it's the only time
I,
today.
I'm using new earbuds.
Whoever complained
Um,
about it last time, sorry, but
yeah, my bad. I don't know if it's my old earbuds or my phone. Because
if
my
anybody
theory
wants
was it
to like
was
donate, if they want to buy you like a new phone or like expensive, very expensive earbuds, then that would be
well, the
cool.
thing is like I did like a regular phone call a few days ago with my headphones, like my old earbuds, and my friend was like, "Yeah, you cut out a little bit there," and I was like, "It might not be Discord, it might not like it could be the phone or it could be these JBL earbuds
Who
I've been using
knows?
for like fucking 4 years, the better part of the 4 years now." But I just don't have a lot of faith in Marvel Studios. I know I'm going to be there on May 5th, 2028 or whatever the fuck. I know I'm going to be
Thunderbolt?
there. Um we'll talk about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, did
I
I
I
cut out
under
there? What's going on?
I don't know.
I just asked, did you see Thunderbolts?
I did not, but I've heard that it's something I would enjoy.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit, and it's the same director as X-Men, so that gives me a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I saw that the guy who did that was the guy that did because wasn't the fucking original director attached to that somebody who did a bunch of shitty stuff, and it was just kind of like,
I
they're
can't
really gonna
remember.
kill the mutants.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was specifically, but I do think there was another director attached before this current guy came along.
Yeah, I think so too. So I saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. They got me into the theater at 11 a.m. on a Monday. I was so hyped because I was the only reserved seat. And then I get to the theater and there's a grandma and her four grandkids in front of me, and I was like, can y'all just not? And then like a couple came in, and then some guy sat like 3 seats away from me. And it I understand how to put this. The one big problem I saw is people didn't like Jean Grey. I understand your reasoning just perfectly well. I understand it. My issue when I was like, people have this issue like with Jean Grey, and it's this. I saw so much like this isn't accurate to Jean Grey in the comics, and it's like, no, dog. Like she kills a whole fucking planet of innocent people, She makes Mastermind into a vegetable. When they do the shit in the Bendis run, she's like the worst person out of the 5 teenagers when they bring them forward. Her being a teenager that had her sister stolen from her, like, this tracks with who Jean Grey actually is.
Mm-hmm.
But it also was apparently supposed to be a completely different character at first, and they were just like, "Nah, we've got the X-Men back. Let it be Jean Grey."
It felt like it could have been Scarlet Witch, like if they changed a few things, because she was on her whole revenge tour, and this was kind of like the very similar thing. And yeah, I mean, it's cool that accurate to the comic. It's just that within the movie itself, I didn't like the way she was introduced. I mean, yeah, like the whole killing thing. Like she takes over multiple people, and there's one guy she takes over who's like, I can't remember if he was like riding a bicycle or whatever. But then as soon as she leaves him alone, he like gets hit by a car, and I was like holy shit! Like that dude did absolutely nothing to anyone, and if he's not dead, he's like severely injured. And I know there's a lot of people that felt like she probably killed people at the end of the movie with her powers, but I don't know. It's just like it felt too much, too soon, maybe. And too, I think like a lot of people, as you said, maybe aren't aware of her origin and are more like used to seeing that stuff when she goes full Phoenix. So when you say it like this from the start, it's like, oh, this is kind of different. And also the whole thing with like her taking over MJ and like kissing.
That was my least favorite part, because that's functionally rape.
The whole thing was very cruel. Like the like just not just taking over and the kiss and everything, but like the whole thing of like slowly revealing that it was actually Jean and then like pushing yourself off a building is like, Jesus Christ, you're crazy.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's our Jean. One thing I think, and when you mentioned like towards the end, I didn't consider this in the theater or when I thought about the movie later. They're already setting up that her powers are like maxing out and she's a teenager.
Yeah.
How many movies do you give it before they do Dark Phoenix round 3?
Oh God. Realistically, probably like 3, but I would hope it'd be longer than that.
Like
I mean, there's a chance because they've been able to. Although I guess it's kind of a Sony thing as well. They've been able to do Spider-Man without doing Venom again, but they have full control over the X-Men. So
I worry about Venom because like they're doing the animated one that's apparently going to be R-rated, and that could be cool. It could also be really fucking lame.
I get a feeling. I mean, if they did the Venom in like the animation style of like Spawn, like that sounds like it'd be really neat. And I don't think it'll look anything like that. I think it'll end up looking like something I'm not very interested in.
Yeah, you know what I want? If you're gonna do an animated Venom movie, goddamn do animated Maximum Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I didn't realize this till I picked up the Marvel Maximum collection and played it again. The cutscenes in that literally are just panels from the comic. It follows the story to the point of like insanity. Because I got the Epic collection of that and I read it, and I think I mentioned it when I read through that. Like, I got like 6 issues into that going, God damn, there are fucking 3 Spider-Man books and they're all telling the same story. Please wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
But I liked Brand New Day a lot. I thought John Bernthal did the thing that he did in Daredevil season 2, where every time Frank's on the fucking screen, it's like, oh yeah, that's that's the star of this shit right here.
Yeah, I mean, I like the movie overall. It's just I thought Gina was a bit too much, and the fact that she gets to, go away on the bus at the end, I was like, what? Yeah, I was playing a Ghost Recon Wildlands recently, and there's John Bernthal. I had no idea he was in it, and all of a sudden he pops out. I was like, son of a bitch.
Does he pop up and go, hey, let me tell you something?
Probably. He's very much him, that's what he does.
He has like 3 phrases, and he said none of them, I don't think, in that movie. I was so mad.
Where's he from?
Fuck, I was assuming like Pittsburgh, honestly.
I thought he's from the South because I feel like no matter where he plays, like where he's from, I always feel like
Oh, he's from
he's Southern.
DC.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. I thought he was in
So like,
Marvel.
well,
But
Washington DC.
yeah.
Um, I like Hulk. I think I could have used a little bit more of him in that. Well, they probably got as much out of him as you could realistically expect. I'm not going to complain too hard. I liked the idea that like Peter still hasn't learned his lesson and he needs to stop trusting the government because he figures it out by the end. Like Jean's not the bad guy. Damage Control have been lying to me the whole fucking time. And
Goddamn EO Sky.
I just I came out of that movie theater going, that's the best of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies by a goddamn mile. And
I really liked the last one, and I know it was very much nostalgia bait, but I thought it was pretty well done for what they did.
I watched it recently for the first time, and like, especially when you consider it was made during COVID, like it's an impressive movie. With this, I wanted more of Willem Dafoe Goblin. That should have just
Yeah.
been him. I think adding the other villains kind of muddied shit. It would have been cool if it was like all 3 of them have to come together to stop fucking Willem Dafoe.
Just the actor.
Yeah,
It would have been
not
nice
even Green
too.
Goblin. It's just Willem Dafoe in a fucking like a
We
jogging
need
suit running around
we
on the
need to stop
glider.
before he makes another Nymphomaniac movie. I wish there was more interaction between him and Toby. The way
Yeah,
they only really acted at the end when he kills him, or not when he kills him. I mean when he stabs them, and I was like, oh, that's kind of lame, you know. That's the legacy there that you think you would have explored more, but
I kind of liked what they did with Doc Ock in that movie, but like I watched that also like 4 days after seeing Brand New Day, and I was like, I felt like Brand New Day was paced a little bit better overall too.
I'm just thinking that's like the same thing they did in Brand New Day, right? With like the little chip thing.
Oh, the Universal Inhibitor. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's the Universal Inhibitor when he puts it on the Hulk.
Oh, okay, Universal Inhibitor.
Yeah,
Universal
Universal because
Pictures.
they won't let them make a fucking Hulk solo movie.
Yeah.
Although with Mark Ruffalo being the one out of the Avengers that doesn't fucking toe the line on Israel, I don't know how many more movies we have of him as Hulk anyway.
Yeah, true.
Which, shout outs. Mark Ruffalo actually fucking stands for some shit. God bless him.
So
But
is Spider-Man gonna be like, you know, the one that develops this for all the shitty people in the X-Men universe that are against the X-Men? It's gonna be Spider-Man's fault.
I could see it, unfortunately, because I did see that thing like Spider-Man unknowingly created the shit that's gonna fucking doom mutant kind.
Yeah, it's basically like the like the collars that they put on them for like the X-Men 97, right? It's like the same
Yeah,
idea where yeah, so he's gonna be responsible for that. You son of a bitch.
fucking it's core. It's fucking core Spider-Man shit. Got to fuck something up. Um, and I left the theater knowing full well Doomsday was gonna suck, but I was like, they're gonna goddamn get me here in December. I wasn't like stoked on the movie experience enough to where like I'm gonna go see Street Fighter because I don't care about that movie, honestly.
Mhm.
But I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna be in this bitch seeing RDJ as Doctor fucking Doom. I know I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up seeing it. I did you see the tease after the credits of like Spider-Man's in space or whatever?
Yeah, that's Toby.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I felt that was. I think some you look at that and you're like, oh my god, why is Tom Holland Spider-Man out there? But yeah, I figured that was Tobey Maguire.
Right, because they have the one where it's like blinking and it's like fucking Spider-Man's like right there. Oh,
Yeah,
also, I feel like they came to a good conclusion on like the whole memory wipe thing. Like MJ just kind of being like, fuck you for waiting so long to tell me. And then he goes in and daps up Ned, and Ned's like, oh shit, you're fucking Peter.
yeah. Well, I figured Ned has some sort of connection with like the mystical magical world because he was able to use the ring from Doctor
Oh,
Strange.
in No Way Home, he was opening portals. Yeah,
Yeah. So I figured that with
I
him, it was always a possibility
I
that he
think
would
we
be the one to
need
figure
those
it out.
characters to go away though. Like
I do
we need
agree.
Spider-Man to start over. Like
I feel the same
get
way.
Black Cat up in here.
Yeah, when I was watching it too, and it's like I understand why you're keeping these characters around, but I'm also like, this was an out. This was a way to pull them from them and introduce other characters. But then you've gone right back to it, and I was like, that's kind of lame. You could have brought them back at some point. You didn't have to bring them back right away.
Yeah, and I also like they could have resolved it a little bit earlier, and then Peter can just go do his shit at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
But we'll see where this goes going forward. I know that they want the director to return for Spider-Man 5, but he's doing was it live action fucking Naruto?
oh yeah, that's right.
Good lord. Um, I was going to say something video game related, and I have no goddamn idea what it was now.
Was it Wolverine related?
Oh yeah, so I've seen some of the previews of our old buddy Logan and his newest video game escapade, and gameplay looks awesome. I'm not even gonna lie, the gameplay looks great. But the more I see of the story, the more I'm just like, yeah. So Jean Grey's an adult. She shows up to help Team X out. We have Nathaniel Essex, who at least in the promotional material we're seeing is just Dr. Nathaniel Essex. He's going to be Mr. Sinister by the end of the game. We all fucking know that.
Yeah.
And then like all of the story stuff just looks so fucking stupid. And I'm not going to enjoy it, but I'm going to play that game day one. There's a fucking real solid chance that I play that game. There's a real solid chance the day that it comes out, if I don't work that day, I'm going to do what I did when Spider-Man 2 came out and just straight line through the game.
Yeah.
There's also a chance I play that game the day it comes out and the day after, and then when Fire Emblem fucking shows up at my house, I don't touch the game again for a while.
Did you
Shit
see the
happens.
the comparison between the Sentinel fight and the boss fight from the Ben 10 video game?
No, but somebody did send me a comparison of that Sentinel boss fight and like the Colossus of Rhodes and God of War 2.
Yeah, it was kind of funny seeing it next to the Ben 10 stuff. But I mean, I know a lot of people were dumping on it for that, but like it's a video game boss battle. It's not very
There's only so
unique.
much you can do,
Exactly.
honestly. I do think the gameplay looks awesome, though. I wish we weren't doing the fucking photorealistic art style because I hate it. I
Mm,
hate it so much. These are comic book characters, and I will say I also appreciate that there are people in the fandom that are like, stop with the fucking Logan and Jean shit. Can we
yeah.
please just have a fucking actual Wolverine game? And I've also seen people starting to pick up on like, we don't need you to do adaptations or like shit that leads into the Fox X-Men stuff. Please just stop making games that are mainly referential to movies and movie tie-in games and just tell a fucking story.
Yeah, one of the nice things actually about season 2 of X-Men 97 is using Cable to really keep the family together, and I suppose having that, Wolverine gene bullshit keep going. And yeah, that's a definitely disappointing part of the game that I was like, oh god, we're back to here again. Yeah, I'm really tired of it too. I don't want to see that in the new films. I don't want to see it in anything. Just let Scott and Jean be for once, please.
Yeah, I worry about where they're going to go with that X-Men game. Because we
Yeah,
know from the leaks that it's the Jean Grey school for gifted youngsters at the end of the game.
that's
Unless
lame.
that changed.
That's so silly.
Yeah, like I get that at some point in the comics it's the Jean Grey thing, but like, dog, it's the Jean Grey thing after it's the Xavier Institute.
Yeah,
Like, you
I
gotta
think
have Charles first.
there was an interview going around saying like they explaining why they didn't want to put X-Men in the game. I didn't read it because, in my opinion, like there's not really any excuse for it. Like, why can't they just exist? It's silly.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. I don't like Insomniac. I got people pissing at me on Reset Era because I was like, someone's like, why can't we have an RPG? And I was like, because you have to get a fucking slop game, basically. And so it's like, oh, I'm sure they're really they're upset with their 10 to 20 million copies sold because one person doesn't like it. Like, dog, I love Spider-Man 2018. I think that game gets a lot of stuff right. And the following two Spider-Man games by Insomniac get basically everything wrong, which only makes 2018 look like more of a miracle as time goes on. This Wolverine game is going to play good. It'll probably play great. Insomniac don't make games that play bad. They just make games that have really shitty fucking stories. And I think once this is done, if I'm Marvel, I'm figuring out a way to carve out that part where like nobody else can make an X-Men game from the agreement. Because we're 2 episodes of X-Men 97 deep, and one of the prevailing comments I keep seeing is, why don't we have an X-Men beat 'em up?
Yeah. I
So
I want to say too, it's not like Spider-Man 2 was bad gameplay wise, but like when it comes to enemies and things that they could have introduced, I don't necessarily think they did a good job there.
I don't think Craven needed little buddies. I agree with my
Yeah.
friend Kara that it should have just been like AIM, like showing up to try to take the lizard. And I think Craven should have been like Taskmaster was in 2018, or like Mr. X and RE2, where like you're swinging through the city and all of a sudden the crosshairs pop up and it's like, God damn
Yeah,
it, this
that'd been cool.
motherfucker again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think we needed Venom.
I think they did that with like Deadshot in like Arkham City, right? Something like that.
Yeah, they did something similar.
Yeah.
And like, I just, the way they used Venom, I had no problem with Harry being Venom. I had a problem with how they used him.
Oh, I didn't even get to that. I got to the black suit. I didn't get to Venom itself.
Yeah, it's, I don't want to sit here and say like that game like broke my heart, but that game kind of broke my heart because you had 2 of my 3 favorite Spider-Man villains in the same game and you did neither of them justice. And also, they bitch Peter. It's supposed to be his fucking game where he passes the torch to Miles. You basically, when you have the choice, you might as well just play as Miles, but you don't want to play as Miles because they write him like he's a fucking loser. He's like one of the coolest characters in comic books when you write him, right. But in those games, he's like a fucking socially awkward like incel.
Oh
And I
god.
saw somebody say it recently, like, you have to like fucking capture sounds from the city to make a beat in the Miles game. And I guess somebody posted the video of him listening to the final beat, and they're like, "Yeah, this is how I know there were no black people writing this game. It was only white people." Like, yeah, the Miles in that video game is what happens when lame white people that have never met a black person in their lives write a black character. They have an idea of what they think a cool black guy is, and that's how they write Miles, and he just comes off like the fucking biggest loser. And
I don't
he's
even.
like inherently in every other fucking form of media, the Spider-Verse movies, every comic book I've ever read with him, he is a fucking cool character. He's Miles in the Spider-Verse movies. If they just copied that character wholesale and aged him up a little bit, that's a
Yeah.
character I'm perfectly fine with being the main character in Spider-Man 3. The current Miles, I don't want him to return. He's fucking lame. And he's just a fucking loser. And I don't get I don't get it. I don't
Yeah,
get it.
I don't even remember a lot about his characteristics to be honest with you. I remember they had the suit that was in there where it like sort of the animations, the frames of animation sort of copied the Spider-Verse movies. That was cool.
Yeah, that was the thing. I think is like he could have been the kind of shy, awkward kid whose dad died in the first game, like 2018. But by the time you do the Miles Morales game, he should be fucking cool. He should be comfortable with who he is, and he's not. He's just a fucking lameo.
Poor guy.
Yeah, and like that third Spider-Man game still coming. It's probably going to be a PS6 title at this point.
Oh god, I don't even want to think about a PS6.
Yeah, and there's the whole like fucking no physical games thing. So like what's going to happen with your library. They need to do that shit Xbox is doing, where like if you have a disc, the game gets added to your digital library.
I was talking about that the other day. That's only would apply to like three. Does that apply to like original Xbox? Do you think?
I'm not
Have
certain.
they even talked about it? Because I was like looking to buy. It was actually my old Xbox from him. I traded him at I sold it to him so I could buy Fire Pro Returns back in the day. And I was like, there was something I wanted to emulate. I don't even remember what it was now. Maybe it was Backyard Wrestling, which I actually did get up and running and had no problems with it. But I was like, I really want to play this on like the actual console. So I was like, how much for it? And he gave me a price, and I was like, fuck that. But also, like, I was like, you know what? I don't even really need it anyway. I don't have the space for it. And he's like, oh well, they'll introduce that physical to digital thing. And I was thinking, I was like, did they even announce that for the original Xbox? I thought it was like going to be a 360 thing or something. But I don't know. We'll see.
I think that's the way to go if they want to retain any sort of customer goodwill, because if you're able to revoke those licenses and it's a digital only future, Sony will lose. They will get dog fucking walked by Nintendo. As long as Nintendo are still committed to their first party games being on actual cartridge instead of game key cards, there's the security of knowing if I buy the next Pokemon game, even if it gets delisted for what, like, Nintendo's never going to delist their own games, but in the crazy parallel universe where it does, as long as I have the cartridge, I still have Pokemon. As long as I have the cartridge, I still have Metroid. As long as I have the cartridge, I still have fucking Legend of Zelda, Fire Emblem, Donkey Kong, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as there's that security with Nintendo, I don't see Sony catching them. I don't see Microsoft catching them. Maybe the Sony handheld does really well, because if they're able to price it effectively and close to the Switch 2, which with Switch 2 price increases happening, they if they launch it at 600, it might be the same price as the Switch 2 by the time it comes out. We don't know. But there's the future of console gaming and gaming in general is so interesting, because what does this shit look like in 2 years? Like when the new consoles are all out, because 2027 is apparently the launch for all of them that aren't Switch 2 because it's already out. When Project Helix and the PS6 drop, what does this shit look like? How expensive are the budgets? Does somebody at Microsoft and Sony realize that AA is the way to go? If not, they're screwed. They're screwed.
Yeah, it's, as you said, it's going to be very interesting. It's hard to predict. It's hard to predict anything but doom. It feels like at some point, it's like with the way things have been for the past years, it's just like feels like we'll be in, Skynet will be in control in 2029, and all the video game consoles are dead anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Also, watching that G1 final made me really sad that we don't have like a New Japan video game right now, because god damn it, I'd love to have this roster in a video game.
Yeah, there's some video that Maki Ito did where she was playing like a I can't remember if it was like a football game or what. She was playing with like some dragon thing, and I could have sworn they were talking. They said ProRes game at one point. I don't know if it wasn't translated. I don't know if the dragon was like saying, "Hey, where's the wrestling game?" or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, what do you even say? It's a sad situation. It's been forever since we've had. It feels like it's been forever since we've had like a licensed game. The last one for New Japan obviously being Fire Pro Returns, but that was released originally as an unlicensed game. I don't know. It's crazy. It's insane. It's sad. It's very sad.
We need Tanahashi to get on the fucking phone to Ukes. Even if Ukes does a Tokon Retsuden 5 or just rebooting the series, even if it's like a 6 out of 10, that's still 5 points higher than the fucking 2K games. Let's fucking go.
You could, I mean, realistically, they could have like a whole cyber agent game, but like also the way like cyber agent is so weird, the way like they do the business, like it would probably end up being New Japan and Stardom anyway, But yeah, it's I don't know what Ukes is doing right now. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would love to see a New Japan video game. I would love for New Japan to find like an action figure company in Japan too. Like I'll import some figure arts New Japan figures. Couldn't give two shits about scale. Just somebody.
Yeah, I mean
Because
it's cool, like the little things that they have done here and there, like the Liga Epic and the Liga Big Rubber Guy, and the the Tanahashi and the AEW Tanahashi, and every time like they release something, it's like really cool to see. So it would be nice if they had some sort of deal. Um, I don't know. I think
Jada Toys New Japan, brother.
they don't know how to take advantage of what they have. Like I don't know if it's a case of like, a video game or action figures would do that bad. It's just that they don't even really want to. They don't even want to try.
I think it's they went so long without them that maybe it's not viewed as being a viable revenue
Yeah,
stream. But if you want that Western money, motherfucker, we love our video games. We love our fucking action figures.
yeah. Well, they'd rather put all that money into an AI Antonio Inoki.
Well, they didn't do that. That's like Inoki's
Yeah,
family. I'll say
I
that.
know, which was
I saw,
interesting.
dude. I woke up yesterday. I got on the phone with my friend, and I sit up in my bed, and I'm like, "All right, man, it's time for the fucking G1 semifinals." And that popped up, and I went, "Oh no, no, they can't, no,
Do you think you'll be in
no."
Stranger Than Heaven?
Well,
Him and
I
Tupac? Yeah, I could see it.
well, they're not AIing Tupac's voice actor apparently.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't, it's apparently not Anthony Mackie either, which is fucking lame, but whatever.
It's Samoa
I
Joe.
I've seen clips of him in that Pirate Yakuza game, and he's fucking hilarious. Like he started doing that like voice when he was AEW champion late last year too, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is Joe now. Um, but yeah, I want New Japan to have these things again. Also, apparently the G1 total attendance was up this year.
That's good.
Yeah, they drew 7,777 yesterday for Tenzon's retirement, and then a
Seven,
few
seven,
hundred
seven,
less
seven.
today. 7,777. I
That's
had
a
concerns I was going to be able to say that
it's
quickly,
a
so I
pretty good
just said the
number.
numbers.
It's easy.
Yeah, I mean it's when you can't like when they have for pro wrestling they can't use the boxes the way they used to at Ryogoku, but for
Yeah.
sumo you see it, then it's the old way.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
sucks.
7,000 for Ryogoku is not bad if that's like the max you can run now.
I think Stardom is. I don't know if they're doing one person per box or two people. I can't remember because they've already started selling the tickets for their big show in December.
I know that they drew, was it 6,700 for their last Ryogoku? It was a good number. I know
Maybe.
that.
Yeah.
Taking a look real quick. Did they not run Ryogoku already this year, or is this just like, was it like a tour ender?
Stardom ran it last year. The end of last year. It was I always get the
Oh, okay,
names
that's what I was
confused.
thinking of.
It was not All Star Grand Queendom, but like uh,
Stardom Grand Queendom is what it says here
okay.
for this year at least.
God, I can't even remember now.
They Stardom Dream Queendom. Yeah, they drew 6,500. That's not a bad number at all.
You know what the main event was? That Kamatani and Sariano?
Oh god damn it! Hold on. Yes,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
but it seems like Japanese wrestling's getting a little bit healthier, which is good. The Japanese economy is not getting a little bit healthier,
No.
um, which sucks. But we've seen like All Japan got folded into its corporate owner, which is probably in concession to them. It's the thing like you get them off your books, like Bushiroad tried to do when they spun off New Japan.
Hmm.
Except now they're actually on the books. I don't know. I saw people acting like All Japan was dead. Like, no, they're still around. It's just they're wholly in their parent company now.
Yeah.
What that means going forward, who fucking knows?
I saw people saying like it's not the same company, but I don't think it was before, right? I think like the
No.
business name changed
Yeah, the
before.
company that Baba created, like that went away in like 2014 when they tried to when the Wrestle One split happened and everybody was like, we got to get the shit the fuck away from Shiraishi.
Yeah, didn't they go from like the Japanese name to actually from Zen Nihon to like they actually named it All Japan Pro Wrestling? Like
Yeah, but
the office was named that?
it was still All Japan Pro Wrestling, but in like katakana
Yeah.
instead of being Zen Nihon Pro Wrestling. Yes.
Yeah.
And that company is now just folded into the current ownership. It's not as big of a deal as some Western fans were trying to make it out to be. Like,
No, it's like it hasn't been the same company, not just in name wise and business wise, but as a whole in a long time. So
yeah, they did the announcement that New Japan's 55th anniversary celebration is going to last from next year's Tokyo Dome to the following year. I'm
it's a
curious to
long
see if they
anniversary.
bring. Yeah, well, I mean, when they did the 40th anniversary stuff in 2012, every show was like New Japan 40th anniversary.
Hmm.
Insert show name here. Oh boy, there's a shindy running my local area this weekend. I do not care. I lost the train of thought. Sorry. I saw a
What
shindy
were
poster.
you gonna say? Like, do you think All Japan's gonna do something
I think
similar?
they
Maybe?
should. I think New Japan and All Japan should do like a joint 55th anniversary show. And my big pie in the sky thing is they should run it at Budokan. Because I think All Japan's getting stronger to the point that they're the kind of product that would probably draw 3,500 to 4,000 at Ryogoku with the strong main event. I think if you put them and New Japan together at Budokan, you're probably getting close to 8,500 or 9,000. Pie in the
I,
sky would be selling it out, obviously, but
I haven't watched All Japan in a long time, but I know they had like a bunch of NXT guys, and wasn't there someone like a Japanese talent that like was accused of like sexual assault or something?
that wouldn't shock me. I knew they had the Odyssey Jones guy in fucking All Japan.
Yeah.
Not real thrilled about that, but they have a good roster beyond that. Like their domestic talent are great for the most part. I looked in on Noah and I saw what the N1 lineup is, and it's like, oh, Kazuyuki Fujita is going to work a whole league. I wonder how many jobs he does. Love Fujita. I was singing his praises on the internet 2 decades ago when everybody thought he sucked because he never wanted to do a job. And now I'm just kind of like, guy can barely fucking move. He has like nothing left to offer. Just let him go. Let him
Yeah.
retire. But I really I'm still buzzing over that G1 final. That shit was so good. They did the complete antithesis of what modern main event style is, and it was so fucking good. Like absolutely, however you can get your hands on a copy of that match, watch it. It's the best match of the year.
Well, I'm
Fucking
glad you
king
liked
of
it
sports.
because now we're putting the title on Callum Newman again.
No way in hell.
We're putting it on Randy Newman.
Well, I mean, at least we get some interesting theme music out of it, and we wouldn't
That's
have
true.
the obvious fucking AI theme song for Callum Newman.
That's another thing. I could see like a New Japan game being very AI because Japan doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw something recently that like they're hesitant to use it on like medical related shit and like a lot of stuff because they don't trust it. They don't know if it's reliable. But a lot of a lot of people in Japan love just making AI fucking images of shit.
Yeah.
And devs are using it now to streamline development. I don't like it. I don't.
I don't like it
But
either, but I've sort of given up fighting it. I mean, like I said, I've used AI imaging quite a bit. And I think I'm not saying it's not gross. I think it is pretty gross, but it's like I think at some point, it'll be there'll be enough pushback where you won't see it as often. But there's always going to be people that are like, I made a movie and it's like the shitty AI bullshit. That's always going to exist. And I think in the entertainment industry, it's always going to exist. Once it's there, it's not going to go. So I think the AI concept art and stuff is obviously just the beginning. I mean, there's already people making AI movies. I think Darren Aronofsky's doing like an AI thing, which
Doesn't
is pretty
shock me.
gross. Yeah, and there's other people as well. They're using AI for that movie with Val Kilmer in it. But yeah, I think it's here to stay, at least in some form.
Yeah, I don't like it, and I don't. It makes me skeptical of buying Japanese games, especially like Western games. It's almost a guarantee on some level that like PlayStation Studio stuff is going to be using it.
Yeah, and
And I'm sure Xbox Studios is already like in love with that shit because it's like slop tech.
yeah, and I think you see it like disclosed on Steam pages and stuff. I don't think that's. It probably hasn't always. It's probably not the case now where people are disclosing it. I'm sure it's being hidden in some games, and eventually it's just going to be a part of the games, and you won't know that you won't be told either way. Like there's not going to be any disclaimer like this game uses AI or anything. It's just going to be there, and you ever play it or you don't.
Yeah, I saw the Legend Bowl guy had he made like a Tecmo Bowl clone, and he
Yeah.
noted he'd used AI in the development, and I was just kind of like, I think you can probably make a Tecmo Bowl style game without having to use this actually.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it was like he made the concept out of AI and then said that he didn't really like it, um, which suggests that the actual product is not going to be AI itself. But um, again, that's another thing. Is like it's always going to be then some form, whether it's concept art or concept videos, and then they don't use it for the actual games. They're still going to be using it, and not everyone, of course, but it's going to be widespread. I mean, it already is in some forms.
I like the idea of that guy doing a Tecmo Bowl game that has like a franchise mode and stuff, but if he said he doesn't like AI, but he'd begun using it. I
Mm-hmm.
think if he goes heavy with like AI on the development, I it would be very hard for me to hold my nose and do it. And we don't know to the extent to which he's used it already, but like I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it in development and stuff, but at this point, it's like, yeah, like I said, it just doesn't feel like you can really fight it. I mean, people are going to do it regardless of what you say, so what you can't do anything about it.
In the actual artwork, he mentioned that he had commissioned it, and it looks like if you took the art from Tecmo Bowl and crossed it with how the characters look in Legend Bowl, which is cool.
Hmm.
I just again the AI stuff bugs me. It is what it is.
There's a
But
there's a piece of art that I want made, and I'm sure it could be done very easily with AI, but it's something important, so I refuse to have it done in AI. I just need to, get the money to actually pay. And I feel awkward of paying someone for it. I mean, it's nothing weird or anything. It's just something personal, and I'm like, but I'm not gonna have AI do something like that because that's not cool. You need like for something personal like that, and I feel like the same about games. Like it needs a human touch. Um, yeah,
I I also didn't realize until last night that they ran Nigel versus Shibata on Collision. That's a cool match.
guess who won that?
Nigel.
Yeah, because Shibata never wins.
Well, also it feels like it would be really stupid to put Nigel in this tournament and not have him fucking work Wembley.
Right. I just wish Shibata was against someone that he could actually win against. I think him in AEW has been like a waste when you look at it overall. Like there's a lot more you could have done with him.
I mean, he was pure champion in ROH, and the match where he won, it's like the funniest fucking thing ever because he just bitches Wheeler Yuta out.
Mm.
And my thing is like, dog, there was a point like 9 years ago where Shibata wrestling again seemed like something that was just a complete impossibility.
Yeah.
And he's also like 47. Like, I'm just happy he's still working, and he's presumably being paid more now than he ever has been.
Oh yeah. I mean, Oh, that's very good. I just wish I could see him
I would
win
also
some
like
more.
to see him. Yeah, I was gonna say I would also like to see him, beat guys that aren't obvious job guys too. That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's that company, and I have my issues with how it's booked, and it's not going to get any better. So whatever.
Yeah, that's part of the
Maybe
reason why it's frustrating to see Julia Hart beat so many people in the 5-star, because she's going to go back to AEW and they're not going to do anything about it. Like, she's not going to be any more over. She's not going to get any more wins over there. I imagine, anyway.
Yeah, I don't imagine Julia Hart's getting a push. Honestly,
No.
I get the idea of like sending her over there, and I'm also certain that they see the pretty white girl, and it's like, oh goddamn, I'm gonna follow her on like social media, and like
yeah, it was very funny seeing all the Japanese reactions.
Yeah, like, but Anna Jay went over and got no fucking better, and I don't know if Julia Hart's improved. I would imagine probably not.
No, I mean, like I said, she's gotten more confident as the tournament's gone on, but like as a wrestler, I don't think there's been much improvement.
Yeah, so like whatever, send your talent over. Who gives a shit? They're not. Oh god, man! I just saw the picture of Shun Skywalker again.
It's
What
kind of
is
an
going on
interesting
with that
look.
fella? He does, yeah. It's very funny to see him like, oh, I'm leaving Dragon Gate. Hey, buddy, best we can do for you is the House of Torture. Yeah, but anyway, that'll probably do it for us today. Barring any catastrophes, we'll be back in 2 weeks, unless I get another phone call from my boss telling me I need to come in, and I'm like, no, just kidding. We'll see, but we'll figure out a topic amongst the two of us at some point in the intervening several days, and we'll have something to talk about instead of just going kind of Mad Lib style on all the bullshit that we missed in the past month or whatever it's been. But until then, take care and don't be an asshole.